people were starting to get the message, like you said, in the beginning, people were like, that's shit. I don't know about that. I've never heard of them before. It was like so anti, even the magazines would shun us, because I'd write to them. And
I was going to say, we've talked about forums and magazines, and there's a whole audience that has no idea what's going on. I'm with it.
I would get a stamp. So you got to go around this track in this much time to pass course 1, He's like, I went out there and beat the course record. He's like, not only did I get the time, I beat my instructor's time that he did for everyone to see was like 15 seconds more than me. Hey, Freddie. How are those kids doing in their dreams? That's a Freddy Krueger joke. Sorry. Sorry, Tom. I didn't know if you knew.
We knew a Freddy?
Oh, great, this show. Thank you. Listen, everyone. I am a little excited for this.
Just a little?
A little bit. I am going to fanboy a little bit. If you were into Subarus in a specific early, let's call it mid-2000s period of time, the guest that we have today is a legend. A legend among fans is what I would say. We have Glenn of ProSport Gauges here. And I say he needs no introduction, but he does need to introduce himself a little bit. So,
I definitely need an introduction.
Glenn, thank you for coming on
appreciate you.
Our show. So, like I said, if you were into Subarus, and 2005 is about when I think you guys were starting to really, maybe 2005, 2007 is when I would say
7 is when we really started.
Okay, that makes sense because that's when I bought an 07 STI. I had the first one to land in Florida. It's what the dealership told me. I don't know if that's always true. I feel like
it seems like the dealers tell you that a lot here,
that's
buddy.
What I'm saying. Also, it's one of those things where you meet 9 people that all say they had the first version of a car to land in a state, but. I had a blue.
The fame, that's fine.
Yeah, I had a World Rally Blue 07 STI, and I remember that I had that ATI gauge cluster in the center, and I was rocking ProSport Gauges. And I loved them. I loved them to death. They were fantastic. They did cool stuff. Matter of fact, Tom and I were just talking about one of the cool things was full sweep.
The sweep.
Your gauges swept, and that was just cool as hell. Because the 07, when you clicked it on, those gauges swept, and then all the Pro Sports would sweep too. So it was cool.
It was a fun startup on your car when you turn the key.
Yes.
Yeah, we call it the opening ceremony.
Yes.
And I just remember you had an employee at the time, Ryan. I don't know whatever happened to him. I don't know if he's still alive. I don't know if you know.
No.
Yeah, who knows? But I remember he worked for you at the time, and I had talked to him, and he was like, "Come on down." And I had no idea you guys were in my backyard because we lived in Clearwater, Florida at the time. This is going years back, so I'm not doxing myself. But I would order your stuff, and it would just arrive in my office like. And I was like, man, these guys ship so fast. And then one day we were talking, I called customer service and it was a 727 number. And I was like, what? And then I've learned you guys were like 3 blocks up from where I was at. And I went down there, and that's how I had met Ryan. I think he was working for you.
Right.
I don't know what his capacity was at the time. I think he might have been customer service or something.
Yeah, exactly.
He wasn't as high up as I know later on. I think he was like more, everyone knew him.
Yeah,
as the
I think
Pro
when he
Sport.
first started, it was just anything that came along, answer the phone, help customers, ship orders, things of that nature.
And to clarify, this might have actually all been when I had my 04 WRX, because I know I had your stuff in, because this was 05 or 06. I had your stuff then. I'm fairly certain.
Yes.
When you think back 20 years ago and try to remember the Subarus.
It's funny because I think it was just like a desk, and you guys had like a 06, 07 STI with white Pro Sport across the side of it, and it was blue, and it was just like sitting in the area, the warehouse area, and that's the first time I had been down there, and that was like the mindset that got stuck in there, the imagery.
Yeah, and that was even before like people would lower them. I remember that thing. When I look at pictures of it now, it looks like it's 10 feet off the ground.
Looks like a rally car.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no one lowered Subarus then because it was a rally car.
Yeah,
you were again, Glenn. I want you to give us some history of you, but I'm so excited to be able to talk about an era of Subaru fans that isn't around anymore.
No,
I hate, and I'm just going to be real. I hate
The new ones?
The people that are into Subarus now with a scathing passion.
It's a different crowd. There's no question about it.
I don't
Is this when we cut
understand
to an
it.
ad for SpeedQuest?
Full disclosure, I do own a shop that we build Subarus, and I hate every customer. I hate them all. Unless we occasionally get a guy that rolls in with like
An 07.
An 07, and I'm just like, hey man, thank you for coming here, and I will do everything for your car for free because you don't have a VB, and you just try to convince how much better it is than everything on the road.
I think you could say that about a lot of things in the world.
That's a fair point.
Oh, back in the day, it was so much better, but definitely the community was tighter back then.
Yes.
Everyone helped each other out.
Yeah.
There was a lot more camaraderie. There wasn't so much like, instead of picking on people or, oh, your car sucks and mine's better, it was really like, oh, that's cool. How did you do that? Where'd you get it done? How do I get it done on my car?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And when we first started around that time, so we were already making gauges for other companies.
Okay.
Technically, my father started Imtronics company, and they made gauges, gauge pieces, the bezels, the pointers, the movements themselves, and sold them. We did a lot of OEM business, still to this day, like big people like Continental and VDO and Stuart Warner and all those people, Firestone, things like that, Harley Davidson.
That's cool.
And after I started working there, was it around 2007 range, 2006 range, I was like, why don't we make our own? Because the problem with OEM stuff is you get these giant orders. They're like, all right, we'll take 5,000 pieces. And you're like, yay.
Yeah.
And then you ship them, and you're like, okay, now what?
Yeah, now we're waiting. Yeah.
Now we just got to wait like 4 months for the next order to come in, that kind of thing.
It's also interesting that you mentioned VDO and stuff because there used to be, and I just, the problem is we get older. That's the thing. There used to be a time that like if you got a car and you jumped in and you saw VDO on the OEM gauge cluster, you were like, oh
deal.
shit, VDO. Like that was a Volkswagen or maybe Audi or something. I remember I owned
think
it.
they were in Porsches too. Even.
Yeah, I owned one that had, I remember it had VDO on the bottom of the gauge cluster.
I think my
was like,
Wolfsburg Jetta had it.
yeah, it might have been my GTI because I remember being like, oh shit, VDO, that's awesome. But you don't hear those names. But, we were starting to really shit on new Subaru owners. But what I wanted is
we veered off.
Everything you said was right because there wasn't this cloutness towards it.
Yeah.
It wasn't who's better than who.
It was everyone is the same level.
I can remember
everyone had the same car basically, and
one of my buddies bought an 02 WRX, the bug eye, like one of the first ones that came to Mastro Subaru in Tampa, Florida. And he had a cousin that lived in Australia.
Wait, you didn't get the first one?
No, I did not get the first one. That one, unfortunately,
missed that
I missed
ship.
the boat on that one. He had a cousin that was in Australia, and he sent him over a bunch of MRT stuff. Which do you remember MRT?
Barely.
Yeah, they were a rally manufacturer for rally parts for Subaru in Australia, and he sent a bunch of stuff over. And I mean, again, I remember us all being in his apartment with these parts laid out on the floor, reading the manuals and stuff, and everyone excited because no one had seen an MRT intercooler. And again, top mount, not even, there was no one had front mounts then.
Yeah.
And it was just, everyone was so closer and excited for it. And it wasn't like, oh, fuck him for having that shit on his car, not mine. Everyone was like, let's install it. Like it's 2:00 in the morning, but let's go down and install it.
People come over from everywhere and come over and help you all the time. And it's really the only thing that set you apart were your wheels. I mean, besides that, most of the parts were the same besides stuff like that when some guy got some cool stuff or guys getting something from actual Japan, friends of theirs or whatever. And of course, it was much harder back then. No
you had to know
stuff.
somebody in the military is pretty much the only way to get things shipped over here, pretty much.
Yeah, it was weird because they wouldn't sell. Like you would call these companies and they'd be like, "Oh, sorry, we don't sell in the U.S.
Yeah,
sorry,
no.
nobody, and you couldn't get it."
Right.
But now it's every goddamn kid is just like, "Oh, I'll just put RPF ones on it," and you go, "Oh, cool." Another boring ass wheel
Sorry,
on a
Dewey.
Subaru. I just wanted to take a jab at RPF 1 owners.
We know.
Worst wheel ever made. But Glenn, tell me, give us your history. ProSport, if you don't mind.
The Subaru was a big part of it because people were running at the time. The best gauge out there was Defi.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Everyone wanted those, and you look in the car, and it was like seeing someone with a Rolex watch or something.
Yes,
You're like,
yes.
Oh my God, this guy just spent $1,000 or $1,500.
God, that
on some
controller.
gauges.
I was saying you had to have the controller.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it even for me And I was a car guy. I'm like, that doesn't make your car any faster for $1,500? No, I don't think so. Yeah. It's not worth it to me. So that was my inspiration, was like, this is ridiculous. Gauges don't cost that much. I don't care what it does, like the peak recall and things like that nature. So we came out with our own line that will mimic, the Subaru. The amber color, it matched really, really well.
Yeah, the green and the red, like you landed so perfectly. Again, what I was mentioning, my 05 WRX, that green on my OEM cluster
had green.
was just so perfect.
And that's the only reason we came out with green, was because of that car. And when we did, the sales just started going pretty good. And matter of fact, in the beginning, it was really funny because when we first started, before anyone ever heard of us or knew our name, because the name ProSport at that time, no one's ever heard of, and people on the forums were like, oh, that's junk, never heard of it, blah, blah. So I would ship ones. I'd look on the forum and find the guy who's got like 4,000 posts. Yeah. I'm like, I'd message the guy and I'm like, hey, let me just send you these and you check them out. Give me your honest opinion, whatever. And so I'd ship him gauges, and then he would look at them. And of course, I know that they're literally the same gauge as many other people already make for. So the inside is the same. So when people say, oh, this one's good, but this one sucks, I just like, oh man, that guy doesn't know anything. He's either, got the advertising, is so ingrained in his head that this is the best brand, I got to have this one. And at the same time, you go, well, if you actually take it apart, you'll see the inside is the exact same part, because I make both of them. But on the OEM side, I can't go blabbing about that. So it's like, okay, buddy, whatever. But they're free to say whatever they want on the internet, as you know. And in those days, the price was so cheap. I mean, because it was just manufacturer to you, that's it. We had no distribution. We had barely any overhead. So, I mean, boost gauges were like $29 or something like that. And
bring back $29.99 boost gauges.
Hashtag bring that back. Yeah.
The crazy part is that a lot of people, because of the price, and compared to say Defi, they're like, these are junk. They're Chinese garbage is what,
I remember, not to interrupt you, Glenn, I just want to say I remember when I first got your gauges, my buddy was like, oh, those are just glow shift shit. And I was like, I don't know, man. It seems nice. The packaging is nice. And he was such a hater against it. And I was like, I love them.
So people really, they have a mindset on stuff and, based on their experience or whatever. And, I literally would have arguments with people on forums back in the day when that was the only way to do it. But they would say,
bring back fighting.
They, this, that. They would have a really staunch attitude about something. And I'm like, you know what? What's your order number? What gauge did you buy? And when did you get it? Because I want to figure this out. Yeah. If you're having a problem, something's wrong. I stand behind the product. I know it's really good. And they're like, oh, I don't have any gauges. I'm like, wait a second. Now, you're having a big old fight online and you don't even own my product? Like, how is that okay? Just to say stuff about something, make an argument about some product and you never even had it, Oh, my buddy's cousin's uncle's girlfriend.
That's always how it is.
They had it on their Subaru and, it didn't work. I'm like, well, did they hook it up?
There's so many variables. Yeah.
So that was a really big thing in the beginning because people were so there's no way a $30 gauge is going to be as good as a $100 gauge. Impossible. That was what they thought in their head. And it's just about marketing and how much money you spend on advertising. And if you got distributors, they each take a piece of it. And so, of course, you're going to have these huge margins when you're at the other end of the scale,
Yeah.
And we didn't have any of that. It was like, you're buying it right from me. So this is the price. It's pretty simple. So I ended up raising the price just for the hell of it. And then they start selling way better. It started losing the cheap price point in people's heads, mentally. I was like, okay, well, I guess we'll keep it at this price then. And even still, we were much cheaper than everybody else, but it wasn't like it should be. I mean, the margins back then, we had no overhead. We were already in business doing other things, so it's not like I had to take in consideration the warehouse and all these other things.
Or any of that stuff,
And I would literally take my business card and I'd go to Barnes and Noble and stuff and go to all the magazines with cars in it. And because I couldn't afford to add in there. So I stick my card in every single magazine in there just to bootstrap. I'm like, well, maybe, and then people come from 727, 813 area code, and they like, oh yeah, I saw this or whatever. I'm like, holy crap, it works, you know. So
yeah, I just to tell a story, because Tom and I were talking about this. We recently were having lunch and we were talking about you coming on the show, and I was saying that in this area, some people will know who we're talking about. There was a tuner by the name of Snowman. And he was big,
him.
he was huge. And I remember that he was coming over to do some upgrades on my car and tune. He was helping me. And I ordered the first digital boost gauge. It's where you had the box that you ran the line to, your vacuum line or pressure line, whatever, under the hood instead of running it to the back of the gauge.
Yep.
And I remember him going, oh, ProSport? He's like, come on, man, all this money on these parts and you're going to put that shitty gauge? And I was like, dude, I've been running ProSport and I love them. And he was like, we'll see. Because that also, you had where you could recall the peak boost on the gauge.
Yep.
And I remember we went out tuning and he was like, all right, I'll show you why this thing's crap. And I remember we peak boosted at like 16 pounds and we hit it on your gauge and it was like dead on 16. And he was like, okay, because he could see it in the ECU while he was tuning.
Right.
And he was like, all right. He's like, I didn't expect this to be as accurate. And I was like, dude, I'm telling you, man, these things are where it's at.
We had to fight all the time. It was a battle against Autometer and who else was it? AEM a little bit.
Yeah, the AEM was fairly, like, they were kind of new, if I remember, in that era.
They had their wideband.
I was saying, the only thing I could think of as a wideband was the thing.
But we eventually got some independent shops to, I go, here's a gauge. You can buy any gauge. You buy it yourself. How about that? Like, I don't want to be accused of giving you like a special gauge or something like that. And put it on the car and dyno it, and then put on the Defi gauge and put on the Autometer gauge and keep on going down the line, you know, and post up your information. I'm like, you don't have to check with me. Just put the real, I mean, I know what I got.
Yeah. You know,
I make it. So it's like, of course I know what I got. So, and I know, you know, just like anyone, I know what the competitors, I've taken them apart. I look inside them to see how good they're made and, you know, build upon that. Most of the other companies that I don't make are pretty cheap, like really cheap, actually. Yeah. Surprisingly, you know, we talked earlier about my Lamborghini. One of the things I did was I took the gauges off of the Gallardo. There's 3 gauges on there. I took the whole thing apart and I put on my gauges. And when I opened them up and looked at it, I was like laughing. It's so shocking for a car in that time period. This is like an 04, I think. It's a $100,000 car, which was, again, just insane money.
Yeah. In that era time, yeah.
And they're using $20 gauges in that car. It's shocking.
I mean, I believe it. I mean, Lamborghini's not known for, you start digging into, you find some of the cheapest stuff being used. You know, Tom really hates rebuild channels now because it's on YouTube. So much. But those guys, when they go to do like an old Gallardo or an early Murcielago, even some of the stuff they come across is just bonkers.
The new stuff, because like you got Matt Armstrong doing the Bugatti, and like everything's like an Audi or Volkswagen.
Did you see? And again, sorry, Glenn. We don't talk about Matt Armstrong all night. But did you see in that the fuse panel is out of a Gallardo?
Yes,
like that was so funny.
Yes.
A Bugatti
brand
Chiron,
new Bugatti Chiron,
is a Gallardo fuel
like
panel.
Like, yeah,
that's so funny. But that's just parts bin. That you know from doing OEM stuff, you have to find what you have in your backyard. And
you have to do that, or you know, customers come to us, the private label guys or OEM guys, and they don't want to spend the money, so they're like, "Do you have something that'll work?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've got something that'll work. This one right here." And you know, of course, this is the same one used in these 3 products, but again, nobody takes gauges apart, nobody opens them up. Same with multi-testers. We used to make handheld multi-testers that, we still do, that for DIY guys, and those are sold. It's a whole nother division that we have that makes those and sells them into Home Depot and Lowe's and stuff under a different customer's brand. It's their own brand. We just make the parts for them. So we're really good at electronics, and the case itself, we do injection molding with that stuff. And from there, you know, we ended up making the gauges that we talked about. The next level, you know, when we brought the SEMA, we won some awards for the peak recall, the memory feature, things of that nature, all built into the gauge, no controller needed, like the Defi style. So we came out with a gauge that is just as accurate and quick as Defi without the controller, that is way faster, you know, and way more affordable.
Yeah.
And that really killed it. I mean, for years, like back in those days in 2008, 9, 10, 11, every year we were doubling in growth because it was just sucking up market share like crazy because of our price point. And we were just killing it, you know, because of people were starting to get the message. Like you said, in the beginning, people were like, that's shit. I don't know about that. I've never heard of them before. It was like so anti, you know, even the magazines would shun us, you know, because I'd write to them. And
I was to say, we've talked about forums and magazines, and there's a whole audience that has no idea what's going on. I'm with it.
I would get a stamp.
So yeah, I literally write to them.
I mean, that's what you did though in that time.
To have a new product, and you know, and they're like, well, maybe we'll get around to it. And it wasn't until a couple years later, it really pissed me off because I, you know, called the editor up of, I think it was Super Street at the time. And because I opened it, and sure enough, they got another picture of Autometer's next new product.
Yeah.
And I just ripped this guy a new one on the phone. I'm like, what kind of bullshit is this that just because I don't advertise in your magazine, you don't show your readers what's really out there, what's really for sale, what's the alternatives? I think it's really biased that you're just only given new product display and stuff like that and free press to people that actually in your magazine. That's not free. I mean, you're doing your readers a disservice.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, you're right, fine. You know, he was like, okay, I'll do it. I'm like, great. You know, and at that point, same thing. We got a lot of information, a lot of calls, a lot of stuff going from there. You can see the bump when the magazine came out on sales and emails, and people are starting to talk more and stuff. And of course, then now I make more money, I can advertise, you know, that kind of thing. So it all comes around in the big picture, but it just seemed like in the beginning we were just getting hammered. You know, nobody wanted, like, I wouldn't say like block me, but it was really an uphill battle trying to prove a no-name brand with no money. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was not paying the magazines. I wouldn't do any advertising at all. I was always looking for free stuff all the time. And even on the forums, I get kicked out of the forums all the time because I'm not a paid advertiser. And I'm like, geez, again, I'm giving your people access to the manufacturer and they can write me questions. I go, I didn't sell anything. I'm not going to link to my website or anything like that. I'm just answering people's questions here on the forum. Why are you trying to kick me off or block me and ban me? And they go, well, your name, it says ProSport Gauges, so that's advertising. I'm like, so let me get this straight. This guy over here is called Fuck Your Mother. That's a screen name, you know, whatever. Yeah. That's perfectly acceptable. Yeah. But because I have got a company name as my, you guys suck, you know? And of course, as we all know, it was like the downfall of. I mean,
100%.
Tell you what happened to them. They're gone now. I mean,
well, the thing is you're talking about the apex of where they're starting to want to run banner ads on forums and fill them with as much money as they could sell.
Money and in the beginning,
ultimately killed it off.
It was guys like you and me that started a forum and then said, "Hey, let's just get a bunch of guys together here."
It was just a community. It was just a way to get a community.
And just like we talked about the cool STI guys from back in the early, you know, the 08s, the 10s, stuff like that. And everyone's together and just helping each other out on a forum. And if you wanted to donate $5 or whatever, great. You know, that's all they cared about. And then they started getting bought out by people and they got greedy and they started charging everyone. And it was like, this is no fun anymore.
Yeah, people, I mean, again, we in this room probably remember, but there was a time you would be on a forum and then it would just not be there for a month. And they would have a page where like, sorry guys, we couldn't afford the hosting this month.
Exactly.
If you want to donate, please send me some money here so I can get it back online. Yeah. I mean, there was just a completely, and it sounds so alien and it's not even that long ago. That's the funny part.
Not that long ago. And it was just normal people like you and I running a forum. And it's sad that it came to that. And you see that now. Here we are, almost 20 years later since when ProSport came out. There are a lot less gauge companies out there. A lot of them went out of business, filed bankruptcy, no longer in the United States, if you want to even think of those companies that are still around.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Why is that happening? You know, the car people, are they getting smaller? Is the market overall getting smaller? I think so. I think as there's so many other things that are vying for younger guys' attention, you know?
Yeah.
And less people are working on the Subarus because even in the exotic cars, there's so many people out there that I go, well, geez, you know, McLaren had it right. Why would I think that I'm going to do anything better than what their engineers can do? So I'm not going to touch it. I paid $250,000 for the car. I'm sure it's perfect, you know?
Yeah. I would also make on the other side, I would say that these kids nowadays don't even know what 90% of those gauges even mean.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
I wouldn't say 90, but yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a little more hypocritical just in dealing day to day with modern Subaru owners. But what I would say is my first Subaru had a gauge that was in like kilograms. That was my boost gauge or something, was like in
Lamco.
Yeah, my Lamco. Yeah.
Yep.
And
bars.
Yeah, well, I mean, bar was a measurement,
Yeah.
and now most of these kids have cob access ports, and then they just go my dam. I'm worried about my dam, like the dam. Like they don't. But you go, what does that mean? Why are you saying this? And then they're like, I don't know. I read online that it's bad, and then you just go.
Yeah, they don't know.
They don't have a functional understanding of what any of those.
How the engine's supposed to work,
Correct.
Or what the ratios are supposed to be, or
EGT means nothing to them because they don't know what it means. Right. I'd be shocked if they knew what the acronym, much less the actual data.
And that's a prime example. EGT gauges for us is just like it's a dying, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody buys.
Yeah, unless
it
you have an
anymore.
airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah, EGT doesn't mean anything to you. Yeah.
More for guys towing now.
Yeah.
The diesel guys are using them when they're towing. They got to make sure that they can't overheat as they're going up Cajon Pass or something in California. Those are the guys that we see now. So it's shifted completely where, you know, again, tuner guys used to get EGT gauges and now there's almost zero. And a lot of our stuff now on that aspect is moved over to the diesel market and trucks and stuff like that, which is interesting because, you know, 15, 20 years ago, no truck guy knew anything with ProSport. You know, we were strictly tuner oriented and going after that market, you know, specifically. And then because of the Subaru, we started doing like the dead pedals and turbo blankets and a lot of heat control stuff because I had a car. So like, well, we need this, we need that,
Yeah,
we need
what's the
this.
next thing?
And,
Yeah.
And not only that, we realized that, geez, there's so much opportunity because the name brand guys are charging a fortune. I mean, an absolute fortune, you know. And another example of that is fiberglass. We do a lot of heat control products now. It's shocking how much it is. And companies that are the name brand one in the industry, it's interesting to me. This is a great product to go, well, geez, fiberglass is fiberglass. Like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like
You can't make shitty fiberglass.
I can see what people think. Oh well, a gauge is maybe not as accurate ever, but you're like, it's just a piece of fiberglass wrapped around a pipe. How different can it be, and why is yours 3 times the price of mine? It's just money and packaging or whatever.
Yeah. Marketing, the R&D that goes into it and stuff.
Okay, if you want that stuff, I mean, similar to going to the grocery store and you go, oh well, Publix brand cereal is cheaper than Kellogg's, but do you think Publix was like, you know what, we should get in the cereal business and just started a whole factory? No, they just
they're just
private
buying
label it.
Yeah.
And they don't have to advertise, they don't have to do any of the stuff. They just stick it on the shelf and it sells because it's 30% cheaper than the other brands that are out there. And that happens in every industry.
100%.
And
just to share a real world example of that, and again, I'm sorry, Glenn, with you having a turbo blanket here and stuff, but I was talking to a manufacturer, a friend of mine, and he was like, hey man, like I have access to a factory overseas that makes car parts. And I was like, what do they have? And he put me in touch with them and they sent me this long list of stuff. And it was everything you could think of basically. And I was like, wow, a turbo blanket for Subaru. I think at the time I had a 2014 STI and it was one of them that I was working on. And I was like, wow, a turbo blanket for a 2014 STI is $7.99 my cost. And I was like, let's give it a shot. Because much less, I looked at the list thinking, what is just a simple product that you can't really mess up? And like you said, fiberglass is fiberglass. It can be thinner, it can be thicker. The materials on the outside can be, but this said Kevlar, you know, it's lined with the fiberglass. And I was like, can't really screw this up. Also, the price on this is, so I bought 10 of them. And the manufacturer's like, what brand do you want to put on it? And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to jump into the turbo blanket market, but I am ready to put some in my speed shop and also stick one on my car and just see if it works. Exactly. And we got it in, and my buddy was like, dude, this thing is going to be shit at this price. Because roughly a good turbo blanket is around $100, you know, 60 to 125, depending on who you talk to.
Material, yeah.
Yeah. And they came in, and my buddy was standing there, and he's like, dude, this thing has springs, like everything on it. And I was like, yeah. He's like, this is nice as hell. And I was like, yeah, man, and I guarantee that all the other companies, they're probably making the exact same ones for them too. Because they were like, what color do you want the Kevlar? Do you want it gold? Do you want it black? Do you want it? And again, I'm not trying to take from your product at all.
No,
I'm in that industry, so it's funny to me. And I ended up just using them on my cars. And, you know, I was like, I should have bought more, and I could have branded them and made a whole company. But much like you're saying.
You can easily do that. And the good thing about most heat control product is there's, unless you have something wrong with it, there's zero comebacks, and there's zero damage. You know, like the postman can kick that all the way to your house.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they still put it on, it's fine. There's no damage. But we have electronic stuff, that's a whole nother story. So you're going to have some fallout there. And of course that happens too. You know, a guy gets it and it's broken or something like that. It's, you know, make a claim. But this one is particular is carbon fiber. You know,
oh, that's that's really cool.
Neat stuff. We were the first one to have one of these at SEMA. I beat DEI to the table on that one, which was, you know, for me a big pat on the back.
Yeah,
it's huge.
And then of course next year they came out with it, so I was like, you know, they spent a lot more money, you know, on advertising, but they sell really well, and there's never any comebacks. It's really nice. I mean,
well, you mentioned Subaru. Like, how did you land on doing Subaru stuff initially? How did you land into Subaru specifically?
Yeah, did you intend to? Did it? Because unfortunately, like, we're talking about early days of ProSport, right? Yeah. And I had a Subaru, so I was in that community. But I mean, were you guys big in Audi, and I just didn't know because I didn't know anybody with an Audi at the time?
No. We were not big on anything. It did start with a friend of mine. He owns Mach 5 Motorsports.
Okay.
Dan is his name. Which is also Fast WRX, same company.
Yep.
Yeah.
And obviously, everyone's bought parts from him.
Yeah.
So he's so knowledgeable, super smart guy. He actually went to Harvard.
Wow, that's funny. That's
really shocking. I mean, like, not shocking, but it's like, really? And he decided to open a shop. It's not what you think, like a gearhead kind of guy.
Yeah.
Not normally go to Harvard, but anyway, great guy. I just spent a week with him in a Porsche. We did a rally together, and we drove all over in a Porsche.
Which rally, if you don't mind asking?
It was with Grassroots Motorsports.
Okay.
They did one in Florida.
Tom, quick fact, real quick. Sorry, Glenn, I don't mean to interrupt you. You know I'm in a Grassroots Motorsports magazine?
You advertise in it?
No, I'm in it. I'm actually in it. You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah,
I just imagine it's a Miata and you sitting in it.
Nope, they did a TSD rally in Florida. Or I'm sorry, not Grassroots. A Killer Tree did a TSD rally in Florida, and Grassroots came out to cover it, and the person screwed up the map and sent a bunch of cars into sugar sand. And I was the deepest car out because I sent it at like 120 miles an hour. I was in 6th gear running that car down to the frame. I'll post a picture because I was roasted on I can't remember if it was iClub or Naziak at the time. But somebody took a picture out of the magazine and put it in there. And
was it a blue STI?
It was my blue STI.
I think I've seen
There's
the picture.
me sitting on the sill with the Dorso with a sad face, and it was the prominent picture of the event. And I was roasted for years where people were like, this guy's an idiot and doesn't know how to drive. And I was like, well, here's the thing, man. When you rail the car down to sugar sand, I don't care how good of a driver you are.
You got pretty far. You're like,
I was the furthest car. That's why they took the picture of mine. But Grassroots was in a Land Rover or a Range Rover at the time, and their car towed me out because it was the only thing that could get all the cars out of the sugar sand.
That's so
because
funny.
Killer Tree screwed up their map. and they were everyone was meant to make a right, but if you went straight, it just went into dirt and then into sand and then
Compacted,
into fine
and just
sugar
nothing.
sand. So it was like all 10 of the first cars that got there
And meanwhile, you're
just
like
got stuck.
50 yards.
I sent that car.
Oh, I
was
believe
so
it.
far out
I
there.
believe it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was years. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, Greg.
No,
but
no,
yeah,
that's
I'll find the picture and put it up
Now
there.
I want
yeah.
to see that too.
Yeah, yeah.
That sounds good.
But I have like 50 of the magazines still in the bags because Grassroots used to come in plastic bags.
Yeah.
I still have them all in the bags because I bought so many of them when I found out I was in there, and I was like very excited.
I used to, when I lived in California, I used to race off-road. I did Baja and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I got a lot of experience with the silt that's down
Yep.
there, which is crazy. Like, it's like baby powder.
Yeah.
It is so, and it just clogs your intake and everything. And when you hit that stuff, you just got to give it more gas. And you can't see anything. You're like, just hope no one's there in front of me, you know, until it clears. Because
It's rooster tailing off all 4 tires when I'm going in there.
everywhere.
And my hope was that at some point I would get back on a road.
Yeah.
That's what
Something harder.
all of us thought.
Yeah.
And there was miles of it, and I wasn't going anywhere.
it's a good story.
Yeah, I did rally racing for a while. I did. A lot of people don't remember. I think we talked about this on the show.
little
but
bit, yeah.
The firm used to be Ivor Wigham's Rally School back in the day, and they had a 1-week course where I went up there, and Ivor, or Mr. Wigham, I guess. I think he's long passed away, but he used to be a pro drive rally driver for Subaru and Mitsubishi back in the 90s, and he came here and set that school up in North Florida, and I went there for a week and did their week course. Because I really wanted to get into rally racing, and I did SCCA Open
lot of
class.
fun, yeah.
I loved it. It was like
so cool. I
one of my
like doing
favorite
that.
eras of my
Still
life.
to this day, I've got like friends in that industry, and whenever I can get a ride in a truck, you know,
I'm a big Raptor guy. I had a Raptor and I loved it, and I can't wait to get another one.
That was
Like,
my other car I was going to bring here.
Yeah.
I love them. I love Raptors.
such great trucks. I had a Gen 1, and I regret selling that every single day, but it was just such a great truck. So
Yeah. Real quick, Glenn, you mentioned about ProSport kind of coming from the fact that everything was overpriced and you could come in at a barrier entry. I wanted to say my Galaxy Customs, my company that does custom steering wheels, that's kind of the same thing. We did that because I had a GTR. I bought a 2018 GTR, and I always bought these custom wheels. I would go find some company online and I would buy it, and they wanted to charge me $3,000 GTR tax. And I was like, what? And I remember I was like, who's making these? Like, I know they're not making them. And then I dug into the manufacturing, and I found out that, 99% of all of them are being made in the exact same factory. And a buddy of mine, a client of mine of my technology firm, Computer Quest, they put me in touch with a manufacturer overseas, and they were like, what do you want to do? And I was like, they're like, how about we make you some sample wheels? And I was like, okay, can you do a 2018 GTR? And they're like, oh yeah, absolutely. And I was like, all right, we'll do that. And this Subaru and basically every car I owned.
Right.
And they're obviously all cheap because they want you to, it's test products. And I was like, how much is it? And they're like, $322. And I was like, $320. Okay, so everybody out here is charging $3,000 for a wheel that my cost landed. It's like $300.
Right.
And again, we're talking years ago before somebody gets pounds me a little bit on galaxycustoms.com here. The prices are a little different now and everything, but back then, and I remember I did it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a company. I'm going to start doing this, but I'm not going to add 10,000% profit onto everything. And we took off overnight. No. And not to interrupt you, Glenn.
No.
But that's why we're going to cut to a commercial for Galaxy Customs real quick.
This episode is sponsored by Galaxy Customs, the leading U.S. manufacturer of custom OEM-style steering wheels. Galaxy Customs designs and builds premium, high-quality steering wheels engineered to meet OEM standards for safety, fitment, and performance. Whether you drive a daily commuter, a luxury vehicle, or a high-performance exotic, Galaxy Customs creates precision-crafted steering wheels for virtually every make and model. Each wheel is built with exceptional attention to detail, combining factory-level safety with a refined, custom finish that enhances both comfort and control. We also ship worldwide. To upgrade your driving experience, visit galaxycustoms.com or contact the team directly at sales@galaxycustoms.com.
Galaxycustoms.com. Get a steering wheel. I can't make my joke that I used to. Tom gets mad when you go, steering wheels, how do they work? Who invented them? God doesn't even know, right?
I've never gotten mad at that bit.
Yeah, no,
at
we
all.
have a video where you go, oh, this bit again.
Oh,
that's what you say.
okay,
But I think you were just mad at me because Glenn, are you Jewish?
I am.
You are? Mm-hmm. So's Tom. Tom's Jewish. Are you like really, really Jewish? Like full on? No? Okay. All right.
I'm like, I'm in the tribe. That's about it.
Tom's, yeah, it's basically
My last
Tom. He
name's
doesn't, but
Cohen.
I always pick on him about being
Always.
Jewish. I'm always throwing jokes at him. I always do I like to do a pro-Palestine bit just to get him all worked up.
So ridiculous.
No, I've heard them all.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Trust me. Yeah. No, trust me. I've heard them all on the podcast.
That's that kind of stuff. Well, like I said earlier, back in California, man, I've been called all kinds of stuff in my old job. It's you got to let that stuff just roll off you.
We're gonna listen. We've been talking a lot about cars, and we lose a little bit of the audience. But I want to say one thing first, because you brought up that people buy like McLarens and stuff now, and they don't do anything. They just assume the engineers are perfect.
Yep.
I recently bought. This is where you'll hear Tom sigh. I bought a Maserati MC20, and it's a twin turbo V6 in that. And I thought to myself, you know, it'd be cool as hell, a boost gauge in this thing, right? Because that's my old Subaru mentality. Is I'm like, this thing needs a goddamn ProSport boost gauge, right?
It's digital.
It's a digital
It's a
one.
digital
But I'm
one.
like, you know, it would look cool as hell, like an analog boost gauge. And then I was like looking around, and I was like, well,
Can't
the
put it
dashboard's all leather. I'm not going to drill into that. And everything else that isn't leather is either carbon fiber or Alcantara. I'm not drilling into any of that. And I was like, God, I don't even know where I would put one. And I was like, well, I guess I could 3M tape one down here on the console. And I'm like, what am I doing? Why would I do this? I was like, I want it, but it made me think where you're like, that's the era we live in now, is that people they're not putting that stuff on the car like they used to,
And
you know?
I was just at a place that works on McLarens, and the old 12C have these two little, I don't know what they're called. They're I guess where the dummy lights are underneath the main dash.
Yep.
And at one point, McLaren actually had a swap for it where you can put on like a digital boost, it's just bar graph that
Okay, yeah.
as you go across.
And that's what the Maserati has. It has a bar graph that goes across. So,
real similar to that.
Yeah.
And apparently everyone's trying to find those things around. And they came to me and they're like, can you make this? I'm like, that's going to be expensive.
Yeah. McLaren, you say, huh?
You got to tool up every single piece, to make it fit directly in there perfectly. And, I don't know.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sell like 11 of them, or maybe. That's the other problem, and that's why the price is so high for something like that. Whereas Subaru, like, great, we're going to sell 10,000 of these.
Yeah,
so makes a difference.
It's just when you're in that car, the boost and the turbo noise in it is so raw. It reminds me of an old like tuned car. But in my mind, I'm like, man, it would just be so cool to have that like analog gauge slamming back and forth,
Right.
And I was like, you don't have that anymore, So,
Did you say people get bored of listening to you talk about cars?
Yes, I think some of our audience likes cars, some of them don't.
No wonder why you're losing followers.
It could be true. I'm hoping this builds up. But Glenn, you mentioned a job. So you told us you used to be a police officer.
I did.
That's crazy. Can you tell us, like, can we get some stories? Do you ever shoot a guy?
That's a yes.
He's like, that's pending investigation. Whatever IA doesn't know.
No, it was interesting. This was a long time ago, and back then, especially.
What year? Can we ask the era or
96?
Okay.
1996 is when I joined the academy, and I went to LAPD Academy. So it was.
I should have put Police Quest up here. I know Glenn was tied in.
It was interesting because another friend of mine, they're like, "Hey, you should do this," and I'm like, "Oh, it's cool. Who doesn't want to be a cop?
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun." And then he's like, "You're never going to pass the background check." And I'm like, "Why would you say such a thing?" And he's like, Vegas strippers, he's just going on and on, and I'm like, oh God, well, maybe. How could they find out about stuff like that? So back then too, for white people, the test, the bar was way higher because they were really going for to get more diversity in the police force. It was a big deal back in. I mean, it's probably still a big deal now, I guess, but.
I mean, 96 is close. Is that before Rodney King or was that after?
That
94,
was
93 or 94 was Rodney King, right?
Yeah.
So they must have been a big push for diversity at that point.
Right. They were they wanted everything but white.
Yeah.
Black, Hispanic, Asian, they didn't care. And so, even for the written test, it was like a 70% if you're other, and if you're white, it was like over 90. And same with the physical even. You had to run and jump and do all these things. You had to run a mile and a half in a certain time and all that stuff. So I passed all those tests, and I'm like, okay, well, you can start, you know. And then while you're in the academy, they continue the background investigation for months still. And they said, like on day one, they're like, take a look around. 50% of these people won't be here.
They did that old bit, like look to the left and right. One of these guys won't. Okay, that's funny.
Most of them. Half of them. So like, don't get too close. I mean, these are your comrades, you know, whatever. But
you'll be arresting them soon.
And sure enough, like every week, another guy dropped off. They just disappear. You know, if you didn't know the guy, especially in the beginning, you like, the numbers just kept getting lower and lower and lower. And I think by the time we graduated, it was like 40 or something like that. And I don't know, I guess, and back then it was rougher. You know, I think everyone says that, but it was really strict. It was literally like, you know, watching, you know, one of those war movies when the guy's yelling at the recruits, you know.
Yeah. You could probably haze a little more then than you could now.
We got hazed so much.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, we got tased, we got gassed, we got sprayed with mace. And the theory is you need to know what you're inflicting on someone else. So, so you'd have to go into a gas chamber and take your mask off and see what it feels like and learn how that works. Riot control, even the shooting and stuff like that. There were lots of scenarios where it's really cool. They give you a gun. They did give us a gun. They use a regular 9mm, but it has it's regular little bullets, but they're paintballs.
Okay, I've seen those. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
training rounds, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. And they have little villages, and you got to walk in and like, oh, you get a call, this guy, that guy, whatever, or you pull people over. There's a track, and you can pull over cars. And the training officers have been doing this for like 30 years, you know, and say they know every trick in the book.
Yeah,
so
they throw every curveball.
You're like, because they try to hold everyone back so you can't see what happened to the guy in front of you. And, you know, you go up and you're getting shot at. You get shot at with AK-47s. They like shoot them in the air. Like, they're so loud in real life. You know, when stuff like that happens, it's you know, eye-opening. And then, of course, some people drop out because of that stuff. You know, they get weeded out because they're like, I can't take this. You know?
Mentally. Yeah.
And, you know, we got hazed all the time, and if somebody fucks up, the whole group punishes for it. You know, just like if they're trying to get rid of you, they will punish everyone all the time, and they all know it's like your fault, you know. And I've seen that happen too, unfortunately. It's like this one guy was always the fuck up and stuff.
It's like Full Metal Jacket. Like everyone, everyone's suffering because of one guy. Yeah.
Until they make them quit, you know. The other people are like, you're not cut out.
You're ruining it for everybody.
Yeah.
So, and then one day in training, it was like, I don't know, 3 months in or something like that. There was you had to do how to fight against multiple people. That was the day that this was. So you're in sweats, but you have your belt on and everything, and your gun, and each person takes a turn, and 4 people jump you, and they try to teach you how to keep moving and swinging really wide and stuff, because, you know, whatever. Anyway, so it's my turn. The 4 people that jump me, one of them is a girl, and there's 3 guys, you know. So
take her out right away, right? Like just pistol to the fucking bridge of the nose. Sorry, Tom. I knew.
So we go dead. You know, one guy hits me from one side, I go there, and sure enough, the girl's right there. So I did get her. Like I take her down with me.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the guy yells out. The instructor, he's like, "Stop! Stop! 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 Stop!" And we're like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Somebody's bleeding." You know, and you look around, you're like, oh shit, there's blood everywhere. Like everyone's covered in blood.
Yeah.
And everyone's sitting there waiting. He's like, well, who is it? And I'm just like, and I feel it just running down my face. I'm like, uh-oh, I think it's me, you know? And my head hit her gun, like the the hammer of the gun. And it just went, I mean, it just tore open a giant hole in my head. Like, giant. I mean, it was like
well, even then though heads bleed.
Yeah.
Like head injuries.
And you know, you're fired up, so I didn't really feel it at the time. And I was like, oh God, this is not good. I mean, as we're sitting there talking, it only takes a few seconds and it just starts running down your face. And it looks way worse.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're sweating too. That together, like, I mean, I look like a horror movie, you know? And one of the guys that was there was an actual doctor, you know?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he just takes his thumb and he sticks it right in my head. And he's like, you got to go to the hospital. They bring a car around, and the second in command training guy, he's like, that's it, let's jump in the car and go. They put some bandage on it, and I'm holding this. And we drive to the hospital, lights and sirens, you know? And I'm like, this is so cool. You know? Even though I'm like, you know, I'm like, this is so awesome that we're just like, phew, I get a single chariot ride right to the hospital. And we get to the hospital, same thing. We walk in, you know, like every hospital, there's people all over the place, you know, dying and stuff. And we walk right up to the thing, and the girl that's going to help you, and he's like, he's a police officer, he's got a cut, and she's like, follow me.
Yeah.
We went right around, no check-in, no what's your name, go have a seat, take a number.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God, I need this in my life. You know? So,
Did you pass the academy?
yes.
Okay.
So the first day on the job for me is just like any other job. You don't know what you're doing. I mean, you know how it is.
Yeah.
But the real world, like any job, is different, you know, than someone just training you.
Plus the consequences are real, much more real. Yeah. There's no paintball.
Right. And you don't know anything. And back then, again, no maps and stuff like that. You had a real paper map Thomas guide. Do you guys know that?
Yeah.
So in California, and of course you get assigned not where you live usually.
Yeah.
You give them a list. I'm like, this division, that division, that division. Yep. But 9 times out of 10, they don't put you where you want. I was assigned the Pacific Division, which is near Venice Beach and stuff.
Yeah.
So like 2 hours into my first day ever, actually, you know, because you do like little training runs.
Yeah, you ride with somebody and things.
But I'm still riding with, you have almost a year of probation.
Yeah.
And this is my first day. And, you know, the call
It's a
comes
field
over.
training officer usually with, right? Yeah, FTO.
So call comes over the radio. And again, you can't hear the calls. Like you're not in tune to all the codes and what it means.
It sounds like gibberish real fast. Yeah.
And you're so afraid to talk on the microphone. You know, you're like, show us, you know, code 4. And you're like, 4, you know, you're just so dorky about everything. And it's so funny. And everyone knows. Everyone listens, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, the guy's like, oh, that's not good. I'm like, what's not good? You know, like, he's like, didn't you hear that? I'm like, I didn't hear anything. You know, the radios just chatter to me, you know, because I'm pulling over this guy, I'm over here, I'm doing this. And he's like, all right, let's go that way. You know where that's at? I'm like, I don't know where that's at. I've never been here before in my life. It's my first time in this city.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, get the map out. I'm like, all right. I start getting the map out. And the next call comes over and it says, officer needs assistance. And he goes, let's step it up. He turned the lights. I'm like, how? And he's yelling at me as we're driving because he's trying to drive.
Yeah, he's trying to do a lot more stuff. Yeah.
And he's also teaching me that the situation, he's like, why is the dispatcher asking for help? The person who's there is not on the microphone, is not doing his own talking, which is weird to him.
Yeah.
That means something's wrong. That means someone called in and said, hey, I think this officer has a problem, you know?
Yeah.
And he's not able to do, or she's not able to do that themselves. So we start picking up the pace. And I'm still like, I don't know where the fuck we are, you know? And he's like,
try to read street signs as you're flying through.
No, he's like yelling at me, you know, and the thing's shaking all over. And we're getting closer. He's like, I'll just put it down. Fuck, look, you need to look if the people coming, you know, because we're blowing lights now. The next call comes over and he's like, you need to step that up. You know, officer needs help now. And it's like, what? So the backstory is this guy is on a bicycle and he's up against a big building. And the lady on like the 4th floor was just happened to stare out the window and watching the encounter unfold. And she calls 911 and she is calling the play-by-play action to the dispatcher who's now dispatching what's going on. And she's like, oh God. Oh, now he's not listening, and now he's got his baton out. Oh, now he stabs in him. He's got this, you know. You guys help, you know. So people start coming from every direction, knowing the man. And We are basically the first car there. And there are like another car with the door open. There's a police car. The police officer's on the ground. Because as we were going, just before we get there, they're like, shots fired, officer needs help.
Jesus.
And we're like, holy shit. And I'm just like,
And this is day one for you, right?
Day one.
Wow, Jesus.
In Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, what did I get myself into?
You're calling your buddy like, what the hell did you get me into?
Yeah, we jump out of the car.
I should make gauges.
And you just don't know what's. There's like people come all directions. You don't know who's who and who's got a gun and all that good stuff. And as it turns out, this guy on the bicycle was like semi-homeless. The cop talks to him and he goes, "Hey, come over here." And he's like, "Nah, fuck you." And he's like, "Put the bike down." He goes, "Nope." He grabs his little bag out of there. And he's like, "Put the bag down." The guy's like, "No." And he takes out his baton and he raises it over his head and he goes, "Put the bag down." The guy drops the bag, pulls out a knife, and just lunges for the cop.
Oh, wow.
And hits him right under the vest, in between the vest and his pants, on his kidney, basically. And the cop's like, "Whoa, shit," he's backing up already. And then he starts falling. He trips, falls on the ground, pulls his weapon on the ground, and the guy's still coming at him with the knife. He gets one off from the ground. The guy takes a stab. He staggers. He's like, "Fuck it," and he goes again. He like keeps on coming, and basically two more as he lands basically right on top of the cop.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
Now, I don't know any of these guys because I never worked with them.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not-
Yeah.
I don't have this like, oh man, that's Johnny out there
Yeah, yeah.
getting stabbed, you know. But I mean, oh my God, there must have been 100 police officers, fire trucks, ambulance, helicopters, news crew. It was insane how many cars they use city buses to block the whole streets down so
Yeah.
they can coordinate the whole area of like they don't know. And there's another guy who stopped to help. He was just a random ass guy who got there
Shot
before
him.
he-
You run out of the car and shoot him.
So, and at the time, literally, it's my first day on the job, and my ex-wife at the time, she worked at an advertising agency, and they always have the TV on to watch all the ads all the time, and of course, it's breaking news on the thing, and she's like, "Officer shot in Pacific Division," and she's like, "Oh my God."
Glenn's been shot. Yeah.
And that's pre-cell phone and everything.
Yeah,
like, there's
yeah.
no way to just
Yeah,
call
yeah,
somebody
you
and see if
can't
you're
just be like,
okay.
"Hey,
Glenn's
fine."
pager's going off. Yeah.
I did have a pager, yeah. So it took a while to get, you know, in a moment before I can even try to page her back. But she was like fucked up. I mean, the whole thing was like so scary for a while because you can see the news guys were showing live footage and there's a cop on the ground. There's a blood pool around him now and stuff. The guy ended up living. You know, he's fine. The other guy died. He got shot like 3 times by the time he did that, and no one ever knows like why that happened.
Just crazy homeless guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just-
It's crazy.
That's
crazy
bonkers.
homeless guy.
Yeah.
So, and that was like, hey, welcome.
Welcome to being a police officer.
It's funny you have that story because when and we may have talked about this.
Mike shot a homeless guy in Holiday?
No, it wasn't Holiday. It was Tarpon. No, when I was young, there was again, sorry to nerd out on you a little, Glenn, but there was a computer game called Police Quest, and I was obsessed with it when I was a kid. It was a little adventure game where the game was made. The company that made it, Sierra, made it alongside police officer, California police officers, because they wanted to be as real of a simulation as you could make a game in the 80s and 90s. But I was obsessed. I wanted to be a police officer so bad. And my parents were like, "Little Mike, you are going to go become a police officer and on the first day get shot and killed." And I was like, they're like, "But you're really good with computers, so you should probably just stick with that because that will probably pay you more than the $31,000 you'll make on day one of becoming a police officer."
Exactly.
So it's funny you have that story because it's like day one you're going into what my parents told me was probably going to happen to me.
It was like that all the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was really, really shocking at how much work you do in LA at that time period, for sure. I was not like a gun guy ever.
Okay.
I didn't grow up like shooting stuff or, you know, hunting or anything like that. But, you know, when it came time for the academy, and that's one of the things you do is shoot, obviously, I just naturally, I'm a good shot. You know,
Okay.
I wasn't like I did it for years or something like that. For whatever reason, I was
It's like a
pretty good.
savant. You picked it up and
I picked it up pretty quick.
Yeah.
You get extra money. You get a medal, when you're expert level and stuff, because you can hit the, there's a bunch of different
You're a
things.
marksman, basically. Yeah.
So, but besides that, I'm not I didn't just always had guns around or anything like that. And working LAPD, I think I would pull my gun almost every single day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Almost every day, because it was so shocking to me in the beginning, especially that people don't listen to you. And I just couldn't wrap my head around it. You did I not wear the uniform?
I forget.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm definitely wearing it. I'm like, sit on the curb, and they're like, fuck you.
Jesus, yeah.
No, what? No, I got it. Yeah. No,
It's only my
sit on
second
the
day.
curb,
Yeah, that's wild.
And this is crazy, and then especially you got these hardcore gang guys and stuff like that, and you're just like, sit on the curb. Okay, that now they listen to you pretty well when you stick a gun in their face. Stuff like that. And some of these guys are jacked. They get out of prison. That's all they did all day long. So they are ripped, And you go to cuff them up, and you're just like, dude, you can't even get their arms behind. The guy's just so jacked, and you're like, oh God, I hope this guy doesn't want to fight. This is not going to be good. And I got into jail with a guy once that we stopped, and we just had to book him into our little prison, not like jail. So guns are allowed, so you have to park your gun.
Yep.
You walk in there, and my partner goes with me, and you're in a box maybe 6 feet or so big, and there's a little window that the other cop can watch and whatever. And he was teaching me at the time how to book someone into the jail. So, and the guy's gotta basically strip down naked. And it's a big black guy, right? And the guy was tall. I'm 6'2", and he's taller than me and much wider. So, we get him down to naked, basically. And the TO is just teaching me, okay, ask him to this, ask him to that, And he's standing in the corner. And he goes, all right, now tell him to lift his feet, because they can tape things to the bottom of their feet.
Okay. Yeah,
Either drugs or razor or anything like that. Because they take their shoe off, he takes his sock off and stuff like that. But stuff can be on there, and of course, their butt. So I asked the guy nicely, can you lift your foot up, And he just looks at me and goes, no, I'm done.
Oh, boy.
And I'm like, oh, no.
That's not a good answer. That's not a good answer.
That's not what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, and again, I'm just, what do you mean you're done? And he's like, I'm done. You want to see my foot? You need to get it yourself. And I'm like, I look over at my training officer, and I'm like thinking to myself, how long is it going to be before that guy on the other side of the booth and my partner, how long can we go with a naked guy in this tiny little confined area? We're all going to get hurt. There's just no nice way to not get hurt in this situation. And I always hate fighting naked people. It's just not, there's something not right about it.
Amazing. Glenn, how many times have we to develop the palate?
Little did you know, Mike loves fighting naked people.
It's my favorite thing to do.
Exactly, right? So I look over at my training officer, and at first he goes, he looks at me and he gives me the nod, and I'm like, sir, I'm going to ask you one more time. Can you lift your feet up? And he says, no, I'm not going to lift my feet up. I told you I'm done. I'm like, are you hiding anything on your feet? He goes, no, there's nothing on my feet. And I look at him, and he's like, he does the same thing. He does one of these to the guy, and was like, all right, we're done. And I was like, thank God. So totally lucked out on that one. And then I was like, phew, I just didn't want to fight another naked guy.
That's funny. How long were you in the force?
I did it for 3 years.
Okay. Can I ask, is this one of these, it's not a PTSD thing where you're going to be
No, I moved to Florida.
Oh, okay. So nothing, there wasn't
as you mentioned, the price here was so low.
Yeah.
The salary in Florida was ridiculously low. I don't even think it was 30. It was like 28 or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, hell no. Because I don't know anything else.
Plus Florida, it's LA is rough, but that's
all I thought of.
But
it's just rough, And I was in some really, really bad areas. And I also was fortunate. I was really young, myself, but I also look young. So I really lucked out because of that. They go, hey, you want to do some undercover stuff? I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to do undercover stuff. Because I've been on other calls where they call in SWAT and stuff like that. And these guys are like, you just hero worship these guys. They got the mics and everything. And
they look cool as hell.
They got a huge ass gun.
Yep.
They line up, they stack up thing. Like, all right, we're going in up the stairs, and it's just like the movies. And you're just like, I want that. How do I get that job? You know? So you're always like striving. And my theory was, well, I'll just soak up any information, anything they want to give me, I'll learn, right? So I started doing riding on buses undercover to catch taggers and stuff. And guys would scrape their name on the glass of the buses. And those things are like, $1,000 a piece, those glass. And
it's so wild, Glenn, when you bring that up, because I was recently in Vegas, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but the back of the door in the bathroom, somebody carved, we're talking like, that door's like maybe 2.5 feet wide, the entire length of it. And I was like, who does that?
Now,
who does that?
I can't imagine who does that now, especially now as you get older. You're like, that's the stupidest thing ever, know. And I don't know if you've ever been to Mahuffers. The whole bathroom is like graffitied out. But
I don't even know what Mahuffers is.
God,
sorry,
it is
Glenn.
the most diviest bar. Matter of fact, it's on there.
We're not a big
sign.
drinkers, so that's okay. I got you.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We're in a different time zone. I had to reset my watch.
We're not that north.
Oh my God, what time is it in this state?
We just had John Schroeder from Innisbrook on, and he literally was like, "I feel like I'm in Georgia right now."
Yeah, it took a while to get here. Yeah. So yeah, it is. I don't know the things that you do and see was mind-blowing to me as far as like day-to-day stuff and how people don't listen to you. But I was lucky when I did undercover stuff. It's like the opposite. You just try to blend in, and you got a badge underneath your shirt. You wear T-shirts or jeans or whatever. I got a gun on me. There's another car like trailing the bus. They're like a couple cars back, and you can just either do a signal or you have a radio, whichever is that particular day. And also guys jump on the bus that don't want to pay, the low life still just jump on, ride a few stops and jump off. And, and the bus driver's not going to fight with you or whatever.
And I paid enough for that.
So, and it's true though, 9 times out of 10, those people that are doing those things have warrants out. They got a knife on them, a gun, a scribe or knife to, mic their name on the side. And so the same thing, you ride a bus and sit there like everybody else. And then you just walk up to the guy and you're like, police, put your hands behind your back, and they're like, what the, because I didn't look like a cop. And especially when you're brand new, you don't have that attitude yet.
Yeah.
And that definitely comes. You get more and more seasoned as every day goes by. It is like, it's almost impossible to not have that happen.
Oh, no. Matter of fact, Tom and I, because I have a lot of friends in law enforcement, and Tom and I were having a talk one day, and I was telling him, Tom, because Tom knows some people.
Yeah.
And I said, Tom, you never noticed that when you have a cop friend, you're never having a conversation with a friend. You're having a conversation where they're waiting for you to incriminate yourself or something.
Yes.
And he was like, Tom was like, oh shit, you're right. I never really noticed that. I was like, every one of my police friends, it's like when you're talking, they're dissecting everything you're saying all the time because that's what they do all day and they can't turn it off for the most part.
I know I never felt that way. And sometimes I think some of my friends did that, but I think they think that about you.
Yeah.
But your old friends, they don't care. It's new people maybe if you move or something and then your new neighbor who doesn't know you from Adam is like, oh, that guy's a cop, But I remember even during the academy, they teach you things like about racism and even jokes. Like you're not allowed to even tell a joke, a racist joke. You can get expelled out of the academy.
Jesus, I'd have been out, Tom.
Instantly. If you're literally caught telling a joke and they explain how that promotes racism. You're like, these two black guys walking to a bar. Like, anyway.
shot
so
him.
you're like, I get it. And they're like, don't go with this drug, you know.
Yeah,
and you know, I'm in my prime. I'm going to parties and this and that. And every once in a while we roll into one and I'm like, oh, fuck no. They got cocaine in this place. I'm out of here. You know, not right now. I can't. You know, not during the academy. My luck, this place gets
raided or something and you're there.
Here. So I was like super clean during those, you know, months that I was in the academy. But then we got out. Then I also did prostitution stings, which were so awesome.
Oh, so did Mike.
Yeah.
That's where I remember you from.
I was on the other side, Glenn. Glenn, to add some context there, just so we can be clear, we were doing an episode where I was talking about I like reading reviews of hookers online. It's just a funny thing that I do. And we were laughing about that. But it was funny because all the comments in the video, people were like, this dude definitely gets hookers. Please share some hooker stories, please, if you can.
So it was always... I don't know, kind of interesting to me being on the other side. It was a cool gig because I wore like half a police outfit, so to speak, because I was in a takedown car.
Okay.
So, again, just like me, they would pick out, you know, pretty young, hot police officers that are still pretty new and fresh, and they don't have a lot of, you know, swagger to them yet.
Yeah.
And they're smoking hot, you know. So they would put her on the street. You'd have a 3-car garage. You'd be on the top floor with a whole command center that you can't see from down below. And you have a couple of takedown cars or motorcycles and a car. And then this girl is, you know, just walking the boulevard, so to speak. And
the undercover officer.
Undercover officer. Next to her, or very close to her, is a homeless guy who's undercover officer.
Okay.
And he's like pushing a cart with cans and stuff, dirty as fuck. I mean, the whole deal, it looks so legit, you know? I mean, it would fool anyone. The only thing that's not right is the chick is, you know, if you ever seen real streetwalkers.
Yeah, they don't look hot. Yeah.
They're not that pretty at all. And they're not, you know, they got something going on.
Yeah, a few years of street action doesn't, you usually.
Yeah, a couple of teeth
kind of scars,
kind of a
couple of teeth
slime
missing.
to them.
Yeah,
and stuff.
A grime.
Yeah. So literally, I mean, you know, some people argued that this is entrapment, you know, but these guys are like driving down the road and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I can get that.
Yeah. They like back down the road, you know? And we got eyes on the girl. She's mic'd up. We got a mic in the car. We can hear every word they're saying. And it's hysterical. I mean, literally the things that people ask for when they don't know that anyone's listening. And you think to yourself, you know, later when you look and you book the guy and you look at his, you know, he's got a picture of his wife and kids and this and that, and you're just like, oh my God, this guy's a freak, you know, because he's like
asking her to build an EJ220.
The things that they would ask was just, and also, so the
do you know how to install these ProSport gauges so they're synced up and the colors are all the same?
Want the sweep to follow along. Pay by the hour.
You have to exchange sex for money, right? Is to commit the crime. And so she will accept any form of money or payment to make the crime happen, right? To make the transaction, in which case you can then arrest the guy.
Yeah.
So if you do it for free or it's consensual, then there's no crime committed as far as being a
good to know, audience. Remember that?
Dewey.
So these guys would, I mean, first of all, their offers were like insanely low, you know?
Okay.
And the girl has to keep a straight face and just go, yeah, that sounds like a good, because they're like, all right, I got $11 and a coupon at Jack in the Box, and I got 3 cigarettes, you know? And she's like, all right, I guess I'll do that. And then later we would make fun of her. You're like, dude, really? A coupon? You know?
Some Lucy's.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
And she would signal, and then we all, you know, take the guy down. Because
Yeah,
she'd say, oh, pull her on the back. I'll come in your car. I don't want to do it right here on the street.
Yeah.
And then we jump in and grab them. And that was, you asked earlier if I ever shot anyone. That was probably the closest I came to shooting someone. I think, because we did many, and that's another weird thing. It is very low key, you know? It's not like gangbangers and stuff like that.
Yeah, they don't devolve into a shootout usually, right?
Never.
Yeah.
It's so calm.
The guy's shocked that it's happening.
He's solely shocked. And you got guys, I mean, literally delivering pizza tow truck drivers.
Hey man, sometimes you're out there, you just dropped the Domino's order
And
off.
you just need a little
You just saw the most
Hummer,
beautiful girl hooker you've ever seen in your life.
And you're like, man, for $20, and
I got a tip.
it's
I got $11 and 2 cigarettes.
It's crazy. So this guy, makes the transaction. She gives a signal, and this was one of the guys. Oh my God, I was laughing so hard I barely heard the thing. All of us in the car. There's 3 of us in the car, and then there's another 2 motorcycle guys the other way. So we can, however way he goes, the guy can get taken down really easily. And it's really calm. You pull him over. They're like, oh man, the cops are here. Like they don't think that they got in trouble because nobody. Heard
we didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's the first thing.
It's my cousin.
I don't know, dude. So this guy was like, he gave her a list of all the things he wanted.
Oh wow.
I mean, he had a full on. This was not his first rodeo.
Yeah.
Like no.
Thanks, Glenn. Thank you. All time one is that.
When you're rating all that.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right, but you're going to give me a blowjob, and then you just stick a finger in my ass, and then you need to do this and twiddle that and poke on this. And
like a bop it stick, yeah.
And she's like, I can do all that stuff, and she's trying to keep also a straight face.
Yeah.
So, I mean, props to her, too, same concept. And all this for like, I don't know, $9 or something like that.
What a bargain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And she's just like, oh, well,
before the tariffs.
Get my wife on the phone.
So we get the signal, we go get her, and I walk up to the car. And again, I was like the new guy, so they're making me do all the work. So I said, sir, step out of the car. And he looks at me, and he looks forward. And then he looks at me, and he looks forward. And I'm thinking to myself, I think he's going to run. So I open the door. And I start to open the door, and the guy reaches out. He's like, wait. And so I grab his arm, and I start pulling him around behind the car. And he's like, what are you doing? I go, get out of the car. I already told you to get out of the car twice. Like, get out of the car. And I'm looking right at the guy now. And he looks at me, and he just goes, and he reaches right into the center console.
Oh, boy.
And I'm tugging on him. And so I'm like, I take a step back, I pull my gun, and at the same time I'm doing this, I'm pulling as hard as I can, and I hit him on the side of the head with my gun, and he starts coming out with the thing, and my finger's now on the trigger, because you never put your finger on the trigger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just going down to the trigger, because here it comes. I'm watching his other hand, and he comes out with like a wallet or whatever. And the other guys are already there.
Yeah.
Rip the guy out of the thing, throw him on the ground. He's now bleeding out of his head because I hit him. My reaction.
He has no
so
clue
bad.
how close he almost just got shot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So close.
He was like, I have coupons.
Yeah. And after the fact, we're like, what are you doing? Like, why are you reaching in there? I told you to get out of the car 3 times. And he's like, I thought you wanted my wallet. He was just so fucking fucked up and shocked too. So, you can't blame him. Everyone handles stress differently, but literally that could have gone hugely bad.
Yeah.
And he was, apologizing and stuff like that, even though he's the guy bleeding and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh man, you're lucky.
This could have been a really bad night.
You have no idea how lucky you are. I would have been a lot of paperwork.
How long were you on the police force in Florida?
I didn't.
Oh, okay. No. So all of that was LA.
All that stuff.
Then you came to Florida. Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Now I understand. I'm sorry.
So and I got to do a little bit of stuff on Venice Beach. We cruise Venice Beach, and again, everyone's like druggies and losers there and stuff like that. And I work with I don't know, a lot of cool women, like really nice, aggressive, strong girls that are like taught me a lot of cool stuff. You know? They have a little bit of different approach sometimes, which is interesting. And again, this is learning from everybody on how everything goes. And one time we were moving some people out of there. A couple was a guy and 2 girls. They're sitting there doing some drugs, and same thing. The partner was like, I don't want to do any of this stuff. Just get rid of their shit and kick them loose. And then she turned to go talk to someone else that's coming in. So she's got kind of her back 3/4 of the way to us. And I'm like, you guys got to go, man. And this girl is sitting down. She just looks up. She's like, you want a blowjob? And you're just like, no, I can't. I guess not. No, but it's just so weird. Like the things that you see and do, which is not
the comfort level that people have. Yeah,
it's just nuts, And then another time with the same woman who was actually she was pretty buff and pretty tall. She was almost 6 feet tall or so. We went into apartment complex for a domestic dispute. This is middle of the day. And his apartment complex is giant. There's like 9 buildings or something like that. And we're walking through to try to find it. And I remember as I get into the thing, I look around, I'm like, which building are we going to? And I thought to myself, this would be a long time for anyone to come over here. Because domestics are the worst. Everyone's like,
yeah. That's what they always say, yeah.
So
volatile situation.
No idea what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what we're going into. So we find the building. It's on the 2nd story, and we start walking up the stairs. She's first, and the stairs come up the side, and then the door is like right there. And she knocks on the door. There's no answer. She pounds on it a little harder, and you can hear people yelling. It's still inside. Finally, the door opens, and the guy has got blood on him. And she's like, "Sir, step outside." And he goes, "No, everything's fine." And he goes to close the door, and she sticks her foot in the door. And then she sticks her thing in it, and I'm like 3 steps down, because the door is right there. So I see her starting to lean into it, and I just put my hand on her back, and in the door we went, 2 of us. I just helped push her because the guy's pushing on the other side.
Yeah.
So we push on through, and we get into the living room now, and there's 4 people in the house, and 2 of them got like a ripped shirt, and they're all dudes, 1 girl and 3 dudes. And we're like, what's going on? They're like, nothing. The normal, nothing to see here,
Yep.
So she's trying to talk to everybody. She's the lead officer. And I'm just standing kind of in the corner. I go, anyone else here? She's like, nope. And I go and look and check the other rooms. And I come out. And she's like, no, fuck you, buddy. Turn around, put your hands behind your back. I mean, that's what I walk out until... She starts hooking this guy up, and he spins. He's got 1 handcuff on, and he spins, which is super dangerous. That's a weapon. Like, 1 handcuff, you can whip it around. And so she goes with him, and down they go, And so I jump on him, too, and now this guy's, like, putting up a fight. And then the guy on the couch, he gets off the couch and starts heading towards us, and I'm only down on 1 knee. So, like, I pop up. And I just kick this guy right in the chest. I'm like, sit down, motherfucker. And it's close in there, Where it's like maybe not even this. And there's a couch. There's not a lot of room to really make distance or anything like that. And I kick him, and I get on the radio. I'm like, officer needs assistance, blah, blah, blah. And then the other guy on the other couch see me kicks the guy, and then he jumps up. I'm like, oh, fuck, it's on, And then they all start ganging up, and like they're getting on her. They're trying to pull her off of the guy that they're trying to hook up. And they're like, no, you shouldn't. He didn't do nothing, man, blah, blah. Everyone's pushing and shoving. And same thing. What goes through your mind is like, how long can we keep up the fight before the reinforcements come, And you start, the hair on your neck stands up, and you're like, oh,
time
shit.
probably is passing so slowly.
This is, when you need to like make sure no one's going to get my gun, whatever. We're clearly outnumbered. And luckily, it's not like these are jacked guys or anything like that. Everyone's fairly normal, but everyone's like just in there,
Yeah, there's a lot of things happening at once.
So we finally get the one guy hooked up, and the other 2 people were like, fuck, they're still, I keep on pushing them onto the thing, and they fall on the couch, and then they jump back up again, and I kick them, and then do the same again. And I finally take out my baton, and I'm holding it up, and I start backing up to the door, and I open the door, so it's already open, ready to go.
Yeah.
And then the other guy, he comes from the other side. I mean, they're literally starting to attack us, And I hit that guy, and then here comes more guys up the stairs, So I was like, okay, cool. Everything's, then well over.
Backups here.
Yeah.
So, and it, de-escalated. Everyone goes to jail, and it's for nothing, and stuff like that is just weird to me that escalates like that. Like a normal, and it wasn't like these were all completely hammered drunk people. You know, just like quote unquote,
people making terrible decisions.
It's shocking. And a lot of times so many calls are just like, you're just a babysitter. You know, you go there and you're like, Johnny didn't come home last night. You know, maybe Johnny's like 18 or 19 or 20, that kind of thing. And you got to sit there and listen to the mom like, well, yelling over their husband or ex-boyfriend. And, you know, a lot of that stuff is just, it's crazy how sad. You know?
No, I believe it.
And a lot of times it's like that. I mean, there's a lot of fun things, cool things out there. You guys ever heard of the Northridge Shootout?
Yeah. That's if I'm not mistaken, back alley, right? And they were bank robbers.
Yeah,
correct?
Bank robbers.
And they went around effectively, but enough backup hadn't come.
Well, they had full body armor.
Yeah, correct.
All the way down their legs and stuff like that.
And they like went into an apartment complex, like the backside of like, and I think they just full on shootout with like fours.
They have automatic weapons.
Yeah.
And back then, normal police cars didn't have any automatic weapons. And that was the reason it switched over because of that incident. And that was just as I was getting out of the academy. So if you ever watch that video, it's amazing. The guys that pull up with the SWAT guys in a car, they're wearing shorts. And because they were at the academy training when the call came in. They jumped in a car, went over there, and they jumped out. And they had automatic weapons. But the police that were on scene went to the gun store.
Yep, they were going to local gun stores
and
to
then
get
they got more guns and stuff like that. So, because it was...
But that shootout's insane. Like, you watch that
video,
footage.
crazy.
Unbelievable. And especially with the shootout at the very end between the cops in the car and the other guy, they're shooting like this far away.
Yeah.
Like, and the whole windshield is you just see, because the guy still has his machine gun. He's like, just mowing. No cops died that day.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I mean, we got hurt and stuff like that. And that was like literally, I think, 3 weeks before I graduated, something in that range.
Oh, Jesus.
And so then, again, fast forward maybe 6 months later, we're driving around like normal, and a call comes over radio, and it's the dispatcher, and she says, there appears to be a man with an automatic rifle running down an alley.
Oh, boy.
I'm like, motherfucker, a copycat, you know?
Like,
first thing I thought of. And we're like, he hits the lights, we start going. I'm like, hey, you don't want to get there too early.
Slow down.
I don't want to be first to this party, you know? Because at that time, what they did was only the supervisor cars had a MP5 in the trunk that you can open the trunk, and then the gun was in there. And we didn't have one. We had the normal shotgun, and of course, your thing, but I'm like, this is, you don't take a gun to a knife fight. So same concept. We start heading there, and we roll up like really slow. We're not like, just come flying in. I'm like, oh, hell no. You know? So we roll up to the alley where the address is on the screen, and we're like really calm, looking both ways. There's no one. I don't see anything. And we circle around the other side, and then we see this dude walking towards us. It's a white guy. He's wearing a Hawaiian shirt, and he's just walking to us. And my partner just yells at me, "Put your gun out." And I'm like, oh, shit, because he's just coming,
Yeah.
And I'm still in the car, and he's like, "Put your gun out." I'm like, okay. I have my gun out, and he walks up with his hands up, and he gets closer and closer. And as he gets closer, he's like, "I'm FBI." And I'm like, "Show me your hands." Well, you got a badge? He's like, "Yeah." He starts pulling his badge out from his thing. He goes, he comes over to the car and he leans in. And when he leans in, you can see he's got a fucking MP5.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
And he's just a dude wearing a Hawaiian shirt, And I'm like, this is so cool, I'm like fanboying over the FBI guy who's like so badass. Looks like a normal dude, and here he is with this full-on automatic weapon. And he goes, my partner's chasing the guy. It's a counterfeiting suspect.
Okay.
It's the house on the second story. And I'm like, who knew that this goes on like right in your backyard, that they're making counterfeit money. You're like, could be your neighbors or something like that. And the FBI is here. And like stuff like that is just crazy that this goes on every day, you know, but unbeknownst to everybody for that matter, unless I wouldn't have known it if you didn't get called to it. So,
yeah.
And they're out there, you know.
Yeah, there's you brought up Northridge, and I mixed it up. I apologize. I was mixing it up with another one, but there's a fantastic YouTube documentary about the amount of bank robberies in that late 90s period of time. And they were happening I think it was one every 10 minutes in the LA area.
That's crazy.
But there was one, they were tracking these guys that were robbing brinks and banks. And they were in armor, same thing. They just didn't have automatic weapons. And what happened is the FBI got involved, and they basically picked 20 banks, and they watched all 20 of them. And their hopes was that they would catch someone robbing one. And they didn't catch any of them, and they decided to give up, and they were driving back, and two of the agents thought they recognized a van. I think it was a van, and they were following it, and they went back behind an apartment complex, and the guys jumped out and started shooting at the officers. They called, but every agent was so spread across all these banks that they were far away, and it turned into another one of the situations where, you know, the Northridge changed the laws. This changed the laws on doing any, basically monitoring banks for robberies. You got to have more backup than they did, because it turned in a bunch of police officers that died during that one. Right. Because as units were arriving, it was only one or two guys, and they would end up getting shot and killed because these guys were armed to the gills in this van, and they're just shooting everyone with body armor, and these guys weren't expecting that. You know, they thought they would finally just stop. But no, bank robberies were insane in that era. It
was a ton. And you'd see it during roll call. They go through all that stuff about what's happening, and they tell you interesting stuff that goes on in the area that, you know, operations that the FBI are doing and special undercover things over here in this area. So it is kind of interesting to be on the other side and know that this stuff is going on all the time.
Yeah.
And LA is giant. They have so much things going on all the time. It is nice in that there's so many people. There's always backup. There's always air support. The copper's up all the time, and it's nice to know you, like, in the back of your head, you're like, I just need to hold on for like a minute, you know. Whether it's a fight or whatever, because help is not usually very far away, and people, I mean, they come from miles around when that stuff happens. It is really crazy to see how many people show up when there's a shooting, a stabbing, and stuff like that, an officer involved, but. Same thing when we talked about, after a while, you know, when I drive to work, if you're going on this early shift, I'm like, you don't stop at any lights, you know, you just do whatever you want. You're like, no one, like, I am the law, so it's like, no one's going to give me a ticket. And I remember once I was driving, at the same time, I also had this little side business, and I was going to see them. It was like 5 a.m, and this is like in Compton, almost on the edge of Compton. Super bad area.
Yeah.
And I'm flying down the street. There's no one on the street, but I'm probably doing double the speed limit, doing like 65 and a 30. And I'm driving my car, a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and I get pulled over. I'm just dressed normally because all I want to do is check on this product, and then I was going to, you know, head out. And the guy walks up to my car. It was so funny. He walks up, and he goes, license, and he looks at me, what division you work at? And I'm like, Pacific? He goes, have a nice day. And I'm thinking to myself, man, is it that obvious now? Like, there comes a point where you're like, you just, like, you're not, I don't know, it doesn't phase you. You're not, like, scared when you get pulled over.
Yeah, your demeanor is definitely different.
All that stuff, like, changes. And of course, you get more and more salty as you go.
Yeah.
And you just hate everyone, like you in the super community. You're just like, everyone's a piece of shit. And you have no idea what people are capable of doing to each other. It's really sad in some cases. And it takes years to get off of that, you know. And some of my friends still accuse me of acting, you know, like, I don't know, like having a little chip on my shoulder. Yeah, it's like, I can, you know, go through the light or whatever. I don't know. Get pulled over. I don't mind talking to the guy or whatever. It doesn't scare me and stuff like that. But I did get pulled over on another car rally in my 12C. I had a 12C.
Oh, okay.
Car. I love that car.
Yeah.
That car, absolutely loved. I had it 10 years. The hurricane took it out.
Oh,
Flooded
that
the whole
sucks.
car
Oh,
out.
no.
Yeah. So anyway, I was driving in like Kentucky on a huge car rally, and we stopped for something, and then I was just trying to catch up to everybody on the highway. It's an empty highway. And I'm doing about 105 or so on the highway. Perfect conditions. I'm in the left-hand lane. There's almost no one around except for this lowered Mustang, which is not part of our group. And as I start coming up on him, he moves over, and then I get in the other lane, and then he pulls in behind me. And so I just start slowing down. I'm like, I'm not trying to race this guy in this lowered badass Mustang. It was pretty nice, little Mustang. So I move over, and I let off the gas, and I just, now I'm doing like 90 or so, just trying to catch up to the rest of the group. And then he lights me up. The Mustang's on the cover.
Undercover, yeah.
And this guy, oh man, he was highway patrol, and this is just recently, like 2 years ago. He pulls me over, and I'm like, well, let me go talk to the guy, And he starts walking up, and I get out of my car. Or I go to get out of my car. I'm like a half a step out, and this guy looks at me, puts his hand on his gun, and he puts his hand out. He's like, get back in your car. And he's like really forceful, and I'm like, he's like, just get in your car. He's like yelling at me with his hand on his gun. He didn't pull it, but, and I'm like, do I look like that kind of a threat to you or anyone for that matter? Okay, sit in the car and wait for him. He comes over. And he's like, license registration? I give it to him. He's like, I'll be back. I'm like, what? He didn't, nothing.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to talk to you.
Decision was already made.
100%. And he's like, here's your ticket. I could tow your car if I wanted to. I'm like, well, do you want to talk about it? He's like, there's nothing to talk about. Why are you going so fast? I said, I wasn't going that fast. I got you here. I'm like, all right, have a nice day. I mean, there was no talking to this guy, which is a good way to do the conversation if you don't want to have that conversation.
Yeah. No, I got you. I have a friend that's retired now, but he was a sheriff down in Pinellas. And he used to tell me, he's like, I don't chase anybody if they try to run from me, because I assume, one, if you're running from the police, you're going to make even worse decisions. Like it's a snowball effect.
Yeah.
That's really
and he's
bad,
like, so I'm not trying to get shot or killed. And he goes, and two, if you're running from the police, the law is eventually going to catch up to you at some point. But
you cannot run the radio.
He's just like, I don't chase people. He's like, the minute I turn my lights on, he goes, I can tell you the amount of cars that just take off. And I go, I'm good.
So when I first started, I was also doing off-road racing, and my friend raced in a Porsche, and he was saying, well, I got to get you on the track, but I also want to get into off-road racing, so maybe you can take me in your truck and do some laps. So we changed that.
Yeah.
We exchanged rides. And so the first person I ever chased in the car, I was just like, to me, I was like, this is a race,
Yeah.
You're like, I'm ready for this.
I'll beat you.
This guy is not going to lose me.
Yeah.
I mean, he can have whatever car, and I'm driving this big old police car or whatever. I'm like, nope, there's no way. My ego is just way too high for this guy to get away. And, sure enough, I'm like nose to tail with the guy the whole way. I mean, I'm like inches off his bumper. And my partner's like, what if the guy starts shooting at us, And I'm like, it didn't even occur to me. Like, I'm just like race mode.
We're street racing. Yeah.
I can take him,
Yeah.
And he's like, what are you going to do? Whatever. I'm like,
pass him and put your hazards on.
What do you want to do? You want to pit him or what? I'm like, I'm ready. Let's go. We can knock him over, do anything you want. I'm very comfortable in a car. So he's like, why don't you give him a little space? Maybe he'll make a mistake or whatever. I'm like, oh, all right, whatever. I'm like so deflated.
That's funny.
I'm like, I could take him,
I have a friend that's a federal agent, and when he went to academy, the beginning of his thing, they have the focus isn't driving stuff. I mean, you've got to be prepared. Right. But they took everybody out on the track out in Arizona, testing track for the agency, and they were like, does anybody have any automotive racing experience? And my buddy had tons of it. I mean, back, I don't know if you remember, 49th Street and Almerton, I'm sorry, not 40, Almerton and 19. There used to be that drag, the shop that sold all the drag parts. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
There.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
They're
but
there.
the back of it was SPW, Southern Performance Warehouse. So he worked there for years. So he was in racing. So he raises his hand while he's out there. Nobody's got any automotive. And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, I've done racing for years. And it was funny because he called me and he's like, dude, we went out there and they're like, okay, so you got to go around this track in this much time to pass course 1, you know? He's like, I went out there and beat the course record. He's like, not only did I get the time, I beat like my instructor's time that he did for everyone to see was like 15
winning.
seconds more than me. And he's like, and then the next thing is they take you out there to scare you. And he's like, it was ridiculous that they try. He's like, what they tried to scare me with. Everyone else is scared. He's like, this is boring. And he's like, and then we had to go do pit maneuvers. He's like, he's like 100. He's like 100 out of 100. He's like, I took he's like, no instructor out there could get away from me. He's like, so it was like just like you.
Out.
He was like, I loved it. He's like,
I love that part. We had to do the same kind of training, how to drive in the water. They water down the
skid
track,
pad and everything. Yeah,
all that stuff. And even you had to pick a lane. Like as you're driving at 50 miles an hour, one light or the other and you just have to quickly turn right or left to make it in the lane without hitting any cones or anything like that. And it was fascinating to me to see people just like,
just run into all
completely
cones.
Blow it, hit all the cones or not pick the right lane. It's red on the right, but they go left or something. It's like, what the?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
And it's always surprising when that kind of stuff comes so naturally to you that to see someone like just so bad at it, it's really sad. And then my friend takes me for a ride in his Porsche, and that was the first time I was ever on a track. We went to Willow Springs.
Okay.
And we went, he's like, oh, take a lap to get
warm
up
up,
to
get
speed
comfortable
and stuff like that. Okay, so we go around, and we're getting a little faster, warming up the tires. And then we came down the main stretch, and we're doing, I think it's like $120 or so, $130. And I watched the cones go by. Like, I'd never been on a racetrack at this point. I've always done off-road racing.
Yeah.
Which you're kind of sliding and stuff. It's not the same.
Yeah, you're using the surface as a friction element. Yeah.
So the cones start going by, and in the split second, I thought, I would have started braking by now. And we're not braking, and it's literally like a 90-degree turn. And I'm like, we're not braking. It's starting to hit me that there's no way we're going to make this turn. And he hits the brake so hard, I was mind blown by how amazing the car would stop. A real race car with real race slicks and stuff like that. It is like, it's like shaking.
All your organs have just hit the front of the back of the rib cage.
And then he takes the turn, and then my head is banging against the roll cage. I'm around the corner, and I'm just like, holy cow, this is violent in here, I mean, especially if you don't have a steering wheel to hang on to and stuff.
Yep.
What kind of car? You said it was a Porsche.
The Porsche. It was, I believe, a 911, but this was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, it was raced out,
Yeah.
And was really cool experience. I'm like, oh, I like this, maybe I should do this more, and I started doing more track stuff there. And then I take him in my off-road truck. I race for Jeep, the Comanche, the pickup truck.
Okay, yeah.
And we'd take that for a cruise, and the same thing, we're driving along, and after maybe 5-10 minutes, we start getting up to speed, and we're hopping along really good. And he says to me, this is awesome, really cool and stuff like that, but you don't really drive at this speed the whole time, right? And I go, no, it's what you asked for. This is race speed. I can't go any faster. And he's like, no, you're going fast. I just can't believe that you can keep this up for 500 miles. Like, how does a truck not just
fall apart? Yeah.
Because, the jumping and a lot of the washboard stuff. I mean, it's also violent per se, but a different kind of violent.
Yeah.
More up and down, I guess. And it was interesting to me that both of us had such a crazy reaction to the other one's sport. Like, even though it's still racing, he thought that I was quote unquote showing off, because it's like, there's no way that this can sustain like this for 200 miles or 500 miles. And I thought the same thing about his car. I'm like, how did the tires not just fall off? You know, because there's so much friction on there. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a really cool experience. And of course, both of us started doing more of the other ones. And that's when I started getting more track time in and stuff. And, you know, I like both. I track my car, I don't know, just a couple times a year now.
Okay.
But not a ton. Not like I used to when I was young. And now part of the problem, too, is, you know, I can't drive it all the way because it is an expensive car, and that's not going to go into the wall and stuff like that and just be like, oh, well, there goes $100,000, you know, I have to fix this or something. So I ended up, you know, if anything, I would get a full regular race car, I think, if I want to really do it hard, because I don't want to mess this car up, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking recently on one of our shows about, you know, the problem with track days and stuff is, you know, you might be out there with a McLaren that's, you know, $200,000-$300,000, and then you got a guy in a Civic with a welded-in cage,
a Miata with a roll cage.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you got that guy who all he wants to do is outbrake you, and then you go, well, when you lose your $5,000 Miata, it doesn't matter. I lose a $300,000 car. So for me, I'm like, because people will be like, oh, come bring your car on the track day, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want a Honda Civic to use the side of my, you know, $400,000 car as the breaking point.
So
you know?
the way to combat that is you do track days with supercars.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
so
only only like-minded individuals. Correct. Yeah.
And there's pretty much maybe only one guy out there that's like full on, you know, race guy or whatever. But everyone else, they're also shockingly good drivers. I don't know how you want, you know, like most guys, I'm like, I'm a good driver. I mean, I mean,
everyone, yeah.
But, and then you get out there with people that are, they got a nice car. You know, this guy's just got money. That's that normal mentality. People think that about me. I mean, I get it. So, but at the same time, you're like, holy shit, this guy's fast. You know, we're driving the same car or the similar car, and you're just like, wow, some of these guys are pretty good for weekend drivers. You know, but clearly, as you get older, you don't want to push it as much. You know, not only do you realize you've had experience of hitting the wall.
Yeah, I don't want to die. Yeah, I'm not trying to die on a Sunday
I don't want to die,
event.
and I don't want to do a lot of damage. I want to drive home and
and worse than die, I don't want to just sit in a car on fire for 5 minutes, you know, while they're trying to figure out.
That's morbid. Yeah,
my goddamn shorts are burning to my skin because I just thought it was a fun Sunday.
Exactly. And you know, the problem with the supercars is they're going fast. You know, and it's different. If I had a Miata or something like that, you really can have the same experience out there on the racetrack, having a really good time and racing, and feel like you're moving quick no matter what speed you're at. You still feel like you're moving. Yeah. But you know, hitting the wall at 140 miles an hour versus the Miata's top speed down the straightaway might be 80 or something because of there's not enough room for them to get up to speed that quick. So
I also still think even in the supercar groups, you just got to be a little cautious. When I bought my first brand new Lamborghini, because I had owned a pre-owned, but I bought my first brand new one, they like register you with Lamborghini, everything. But I got these emails that were like, will you be at, you know, this racetrack, you know, Virginia International Raceway or something? Will you be on these dates? Because for $20,000, we'll put you behind the seat of a,
Super Trofeo.
The Super Trofeo. We'll put you in the seat of a Super Trofeo in this race series. And obviously you're starting at the back of the grid. But, you know, you go, holy shit, I could just buy my way onto track. No one should let me do that. And then there's a video going around that shows a guy in a Lamborghini shoot across the track and hit 4 cars. And the background of the video is that he had never done any track events, lied, got into the seat because he bought his way in and thought you just hit the gas pedal and point the car, and ends up almost killing a bunch of people. So
yeah, it's sad. And I don't know. I've been pretty fortunate. Just recently, though, I did a track day with my friend. He was driving the new Corvette.
C8, ZR1 or Z06?
The Z06.
Okay.
The C6, the latest one.
Oh, C6. Okay.
And he's a good driver, really good driver. And he's very quick around Sebring. He knows that he's got a lot of miles on that track. And I'm in my 12C.
Yep.
And we're driving around. He's actually, the way we started out, he's like, listen, I got this new technique. Because he would go and even take lessons and stuff like that. He was really out there a lot. So he's like, follow me for a few laps and watch this line that I'm using and try to use that because it's quicker. So we start doing that. And not long after, we got a pretty good gap. He's fast, you know, so he's maybe, I don't know, 10 cars ahead of me at this point. I could still see him, but, you know, too far out. And as he comes around the large sweeper, I mean, it's a 80+ mile an hour turn. As you come around.
We've been on Sebring.
Yeah, then you brake real quick and then you go again. He has a blowout in his left rear tire.
Oh, Jesus.
And he just does a little wobble, and he felt it and was like, holy shit. The whole back of his car gets ripped off.
Yeah.
And it looked horrible. The tire never actually had the air go out of it. The tread separated.
Yep.
And ripped out like the whole back panel of this brand new Corvette.
Yeah, it's bonkers. Yeah.
And he pulls down and immediately pulls over and stuff. And he says he barely felt it, and he, you know, corrected a little bit, but he was going pretty quick, you know, and on the turn and everything. And I have pictures of it. It looked horrible, you know. Everyone's like, "Holy shit, you hit the wall!" And he's like, "I didn't hit nothing, you know. That's all from the tire." And I'm like, dude, that tire still has air in it. This is a failure of that tire. You know? And tells me, oh, I don't know, I'm on the track. But I go, a track or not, that tire should not come apart. You know,
it shouldn't separate.
No way, no how. So he's like, just go buy another. I'm like, don't buy another one. Send that, you know, start a claim. That should not happen, and make them fix all this stuff. I mean, because you got like $7,000 worth of damage to your car now, minimally. You know.
Yeah.
So he does. He puts in a claim with Firestone or Michelin, whatever, and he had to ship the tire to him. And he left it on the rim and everything so they can see it still attached. It had never been dismounted or whatever. It still had air in it. And it took them like 2-3 months, and they said, yep, this tire failed, and they paid for everything.
Oh, wow. That's great. Yeah, blowouts where the tread comes off is crazy. I was in a car on going across the Howard Franklin, and the back driver's side, same of mine, and it sounded horrifically violent.
Right.
And I pulled over.
Everywhere, though. That's the, you know.
And it was the tire cut through the rear quarter panel. Like it shaved like a 10-inch like line across the metal of the car. Jesus. And the fender liners were gone, the brake line was gone. Like it did so much damage with just that tread flipping off and then spinning. Yeah.
And I've lost a lot of tires on trailers before.
Yeah.
And same thing, they wreck I mean, they just destroy the cover and everything like that, and you got to sit there and bend it all back, and there's black marks all down the trailer and stuff. It's a nightmare. I hate towing trailers. All the time I get a flat tire.
Glenn, going back to you said when you joined the police academy that you had some strippers in Vegas stories, and you know, I wanted to talk. We briefly mentioned about Las Vegas before we started the show. Can we talk a little bit about your strippers and gambling and Vegas stories? Like, how long you been going to Vegas? I mean, obviously when you were in California, it's a little easier to get over there.
Yeah, it was real easy, and you know, again, back in the 90s. Everything was super cheap. Vegas was, you went there to go at the 99 shrimp cocktails.
Yeah.
And the $4.99 prime rib and stuff like that. And you gamble a little bit on the side. And that's how they get you. You know, those days are gone.
Oh yeah, it's vastly different.
Oh my God, it's sad. But that's when we would go, we had no money basically. So we'd go out to Vegas and bet on the dollar blackjack.
Yep.
And
Alex will appreciate that.
You would eat dollar hot dogs. dollar shrimp cocktails, you know, and then when you go crazy, you have like $6.99 prime rib, and you're like, "Woo, this is crazy."
Yo, dollar hot dogs in Vegas just sounds like it slaps.
That's
No, they're giant. They're like, you know, they're like, it's uncomfortable watching someone eat one of those because you know you're just. Oh, it's just not a pretty picture.
Yeah.
And I finally forbid my friends to even order those anymore because I'm like, I am not sitting next to you after eating this hot dog. So, yeah, we would go a lot. And one of my friends, he had this great idea to start counting cards. And he says, I can teach you, you know. I go, okay, yeah, sounds good. And he goes, I'll tell you what, we'll both do it, so we only have to learn half of the counting to make it easier.
Yep.
You know, because we weren't like professionals or anything like that. And this is, again, like long before these guys that are like banned from, you know, for life, all these YouTube guys now that are just gambling
Yep,
crazy.
they're putting
winning millions of
disguises
them.
on to go do it. Yeah.
This is just like, instead of, losing, I might win $100 or something like that. So
We can get 100 hot dogs.
Hell yeah.
exactly. We started learning it, and I would keep track of, like, say, the low numbers, and my friend would keep track of the high numbers, and, just call out, like, where are you at? 2, 4, 7, whatever. And it helped, without a doubt. It wasn't an amazing system. But then again, it didn't take us long to get bored of that, because
It becomes a job.
we were there to have fun and drink and party and gamble. And after 8, 9 rum and cokes or whatever, you're like, all right.
What was the count?
You're like, I don't care.
Where are we?
And you realize that I only got $10 on the table. I'm not taking the casino down.
Yeah.
But one time we were playing single deck, and I can see the next card that the dealer was holding was the greatest.
So they showed.
She was showing the cards by accident.
yeah.
She was a little girl, I
Yeah.
mean, not little, but girl, a woman. But the way she held the cards, you can see, couldn't see, you can tell if it's a face card or not because of the extra pieces on the corner of the card. And, every once in a while when you weren't sure, you can talk to her a little bit, and she'd be like, talking like this with her hands, like
move her
most
hands.
people. And so you're like, I don't know if I should hit her or not. Like, oh, where are you from? Marie, whatever, like,
Yeah.
and she'd be like, well, I'm from, and you're just like,
Yep.
yeah, trying to catch a glimpse of it. And you're like, nope, I'm good, I'm staying. And it was a huge advantage knowing if you're going to get, and so we followed her around all night. She'd go on break, we'd go on break, then we'd come back, we'd eat some food and come back and we're like, what table is she at? We'd go over and probably 60% of the time she was showing the card.
That's funny. Yeah.
And
There's quite a few videos of like the late 80s, early 90s of guys that were looking for bad dealers to do that. And they would just make, tons of money, because the dealer's badly is showing cards
And, someone, again, if we were betting thousands of dollars or even hundreds of dollars.
It would have flagged somebody.
I'm 18 years old, whatever. I'm like, whatever.
Pit boss is not watching $10.
$20. I'm trying to get rated. I'm like struggling to get my $25 out there. So one time we did, because of off-road racing, I got hired my truck to be in a commercial.
Okay.
And it was...
Did you do the Mint ever?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay,
That's
cool.
awesome. That's awesome.
Love the Mint. That's the coolest thing. That's when... that was like the first time you feel like famous. You know, because they parade the cars, the trucks down there.
Yeah.
And all these little kids come up to you and you can sign their hats and their T-shirts and they want to get pictures of the cars and sit in your truck and all that stuff. It was such a cool experience. And you're like, oh, I like this, feeling of being someone's, like looking up to you and stuff. And it was so cool. Back in the day, that was such a cool race. In Las Vegas, you shut down the boulevard. You just push your cars up. Each one, you get through the checks. They do it right there in person. Every vehicle goes right through it. You can watch Robbie Gordon do it, and Ivan Stewart, and Manny Square. Everyone is right there. And you're side by side next to these, famous race car drivers. And I'm like, I'm on the same track as this guy. It's a cool feeling.
Yeah, to be there with Ivan Stewart, that must be, oh man, that's just in itself,
One time at SEMA, as this guy I was hanging out with, he barely knew me, and he was trying to get me to do some stuff with him on this project, and he's talking me up and doing all this stuff, and we meet downstairs at the hotel in this little Starbucks to have a quick coffee before I go into the SEMA show. And I'm sitting there having a coffee, and I look over, and here comes Ivan Stewart. And he goes, dude, there's Ivan Stewart. And I look at him, and Ivan looks at me, and he goes, hey, Glenn, how's it going? I'm like, hey, how's it going? This guy's jaw dropped.
That's funny. That's awesome. Yeah,
and he was like, Ivan Stewart? I'm like, yeah, but it's not, it's not
We've raced a few times.
Yeah, just a few times.
A couple of times. I never beat the guy, because same, he's factory money and stuff like that. It was but it was, such a cool experience. Even when I first started, again, all these lessons that you learn through that kind of stuff. I first started racing off-road. I had nothing, a car, truck, whatever, and I did all the work myself, basically, me and my co-driver. And the first race I ever raced in that was quote-unquote professional, I think I made it like 11 miles, and the coil springs just like completely melted away. Like, I don't know what. Went back to the guy that made them, and he's like, "Oh, I guess that they weren't, annealed properly or whatever they call it. He didn't harden the spring, whatever, and they just failed way too early." So he's, I got you, and I'm like, I just spent money, it cost money to
win in the race.
Yep.
So, and it was me, my co-driver, and my brother, and one of his buddies was my chase team, and I was newbie, the main guy that was in my class, he won the year before, he won the year before that, and that was who we were gunning for, he had this beautiful truck, like. And my stuff's like, let's put a sticker here and cover this dent, So I started getting third place, second place, and then I actually won one, and then I won another one. And then this guy skipped a race for whatever reason. So on the points, I start like coming up. I'm right there head to head with the main dude. And this guy was like upset, you can tell. He had a lot of money. And he came and talked to us, not like belittling us too bad, but you can tell he had this attitude of
like an ego,
who are you guys, And my co-driver was so funny because he's like, so you guys do any special prep for this race? You think you're gonna beat me this time? And this guy Tim, my co-driver, and he's like, I don't know, did you change the oil on the truck this time? And I'm like, no, I thought you changed the oil. And he's like, no, I don't even think we changed the oil. And the guy's like, these guys are morons. How are these guys beating me?
Yeah.
And it was such a good act, and we're like, I don't know.
Just tell that story for years. Yeah.
So the next race we won, the next one we won, and my chase crew just kept on getting bigger and bigger. Just like as you start winning, people just gravitate to you.
Yeah.
It's really interesting how that works in life.
Yeah.
Racing.
Everything. Yeah.
So,
success seems to be a magnet for people.
It's crazy. So at the end, in the final championship race, I had like 20-something people crewing for me. There are different parts of the race. And like, I got water, I got sandwiches being made for me. I'm like, this is nice. I like it up here at the top. So it was really cool. And I ended up winning the championship that year.
That's awesome.
So on a shoestring budget, we were a tenth of what the other guy was. And the truck looked, good enough, so to speak. And you can see, and back then also, the magazine would cover the races. So there's pictures of my truck, getting my name on the thing, starting out like 10th place and like 8th. Every month I'd move up a notch or two. And it was more of a consistency, I think, than anything. We just kept on getting better and better. And again, when I first started, you just drive the shit out of the truck. You're like, I'll just go as fast as you.
Yeah, just balls to the
wall.
wall.
You realize that doesn't work. You gotta.
It's a long game.
It's a long game.
Yeah.
The truck gets beat up pretty hard, like the other guy was saying, and you gotta know when to go for it and when to relax.
Yeah. I remember doing my first SCCA off-road event when I was doing rally racing. I just shit car at a DSM, an old Talon.
Those are awesome.
TSI. I wish I had
exactly.
I wish I had every Talon I ever had.
That and the 3000 GT.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. We
GTs.
love 3000 GTs. But I remember thinking to myself, okay, I just got to go out, flat out, push it out. Third turn, I clipped a fucking tree branch or some shit, ripped the wheel off the car, and I didn't have money to fix any of that.
Right.
And I was like, oh, God damn it. And then, like you said, you learn, it is about speed, but it's more about pace.
Pace is huge.
Yeah,
and same with you. You do the damage, and I would work in my garage. I had like this much space to try to get a jack.
Yep.
And my tool, like if you're trying to do any work in the tiny little garage I had at the time. And at one point, I did, after winning that, BF Goodrich, I got sponsored by them. So they gave me a bunch. They go, how many tires you want? And I'm like, 15. Okay. And they give me 15 tires. And they get to my, they go like, where do you want them delivered? I'm like,
my apartment?
Yeah. Literally, they delivered to my apartment. And it didn't occur to me, where am I going to put 15
where do you put these tires?
15,
Yeah. The apartment smells weird now.
I put them all over my apartment. I literally made a couch, a coffee table. I would drape the things
Yeah,
over.
and they're truck tires too. It's not like they're like small.
They're
like
33-inch tires.
Yeah.
And you open the door to my apartment and it smelled like a rubber factory.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because they're all brand new,
Yep.
perfectly. And I started selling them because I'm like, I'm not going to use this many. So I used that money to pay for the entry fee, selling brand new tires. You know?
Yeah.
And But then, people come over and they go to sit on the couch and like, wow. And they're like,
what the hell am I sitting on here?
What is this thing? And I'm like, well, those are my tires. It was so funny.
Just a sheet thrown over them.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. It was crazy. And then, of course, there was a huge earthquake in LA that year. Freeways collapsed and stuff. And people, one of my friends' neighbor, their apartment complex, it didn't actually fall down, but they condemned it. They're like, no, you can't stay here. We got to do some checks and stuff like that. So they came and stayed at my house, and they slept on tires and stuff.
That's funny. Yeah.
I was like, this is all you got, Sorry, it's better than in your house, I guess.
This is the space that we have.
Yeah.
So,
Glenn, you may be breaking currently our record for our longest show. I think we broke 2 hours here.
Wow, it's impressive.
So let's, I obviously we would love to have you back on and talk more, but I would say, what do you want to promote? Obviously ProSport's still a thing.
ProSport's still a thing.
Is that what's the website?
I did want to show you.
Oh yeah.
So this is where it all started almost. This is a mechanical dual pressure gauge. It's used for dual brake system on a bus.
Okay.
oh, okay.
It's very intricate. You've got it's called a diarsenal movement, and you've got little teeny springs in there. And this actually works. You've probably never seen the inside of a gauge. I don't know if people haven't. Yeah. So it's like those kids' toy when you blow on it and the little thing rolls out.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
So this works the same way. When pressure goes in here, this tube tries to open, and you can see what happens when pressure is applied. Then the needle will rise up, and that's how you get.
Okay.
In this particular one, it's got 2 pointers in and out, and depending on which pressure unit on the brake system here, it moves the pieces. If you look at it real closely, you'll see the pieces are so tiny in there, and they're little tiny hairspring. And it doesn't take much. If you were to drop that thing like 3 feet in the air, that spring's gonna explode out of there.
Yeah.
It'll be garbage. But those, back in the day when I first started dealing with that, we sold a lot to Continental Video, and they were being made in Mexico.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to go down and talk to these guys, I should probably know what I'm doing. So we had our own factory. This particular part was made in China. And I went there and worked on the line for about a week. And I did everything to build it. So I built, not that one, but I built many of them to know how to do it, how to work it, how to tweak it, how to adjust it. And then sure enough, like 6 months later, Continental calls and they go, we can't get this thing right. It's doesn't hit the right marks, at 30 PSI, it's at, 29 PSI, that kind of stuff. And so I flew down to Mexico, and I get there and they have a giant conference room, and it's just me, and I have a laptop. And that's a funny story too. I thought I was gonna get robbed and stuff. I get the taxi cab from the place in the airport, and the taxi cab has got every light on the dash on, like the check engine lights,
as they will.
lights.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, this is bad, The guy starts driving, and we get like more than halfway there. And at the time too, I have a laptop which is worth like $5,000 in Mexico. This is like 12 years ago, 15 years ago. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know about this. So the guy starts going slower and slower and slower. And then eventually he just pulls over. And I'm like, what's up? And he's like, doesn't speak any English. No bueno, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm going to get fucking robbed right here.
Yeah. Buy a
out of town.
laptop and kidneys.
So I look out, look both ways. We're on a normal road. I mean, it's not like the middle of nowhere. And that was my only saving grace was like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This car is a piece of shit, But I'm like, to be on the safe side, I'm getting out, At least I got a good chance of running and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I got a better shot of not being in the car if something goes down. And so he gets on his radio, the two-way radio, and he's like a CB, whatever, and talking to the people on the other end. I can't understand what they're saying. And I'm outside the car, and there's literally like chickens and stuff on the ground. And I'm just like, oh, man, this is not good. I don't trust this at all. And then sure enough, here comes another guy. He pulls it right behind him. And I'm like way far away, you know. I'm like, I got like 20 feet from me and the people, and they're talking. And finally, the guy waves me over, and I'm like, me? He's like he's probably wondering, why am I so far away?
Yeah.
You know?
What's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, my mindset is like the cop mentality thing's like, hell no, I'm not going to get jumped in here. So he's like, yeah, come on, you know. And I'm like, he's going to take you the rest of the way, basically, is what he was saying. And I went the rest of the way, and everything was fine. But it was like, again, in your head, you're like, oh, man, I'm going to get rolled here. They're going to steal my laptop. So I roll into the meeting, and just me and a laptop, and like 12 people file into the, dealing with these big corporate, Fortune 500 companies is so intimidating. Sit down at this desk. I mean, the thing's like 20 feet long, and they got a PowerPoint presentation going and stuff of what the issue is. And they got engineers there and the line workers and the managers, the shift guy. I mean, there's so many people in the room. And at one point, the guy goes, it's just you? Like, that's not what they're used to or something. I don't know.
Where's
like,
the whole team? Where's legal?
They think I'm like, no, I can fix whatever problem you got, and they're like, okay, buddy. You can see them like, there's no way. They give me like this 20-minute thing about what's going on with the product and how they're using it. And I'm like, well, you're using it wrong, So I go, what? Can we go down to the line? I want to watch your worker build one of your units, Yeah, okay. So we all file down. Even to get on their production floor, you had to wear a lab coat. I mean, I'm like, is this going to help? Like,
what is this doing?
I don't understand the concept, but they're like, can you put this on? I'm like, sure. Now I feel like a doctor or something. And we go down to the line, and the worker girl, again, doesn't speak any English. I watch her make one or two of them and the way they test it and stuff like that. And then I take the unit. I'm like, you got pliers, whatever. I do a little tweak on the end piece to adjust, because you can adjust them on the fly, obviously, if you know what you're doing. And I teach her how to do it. And I don't know, 15 minutes later, she does another one, does what I told her, does another one. They all work fine. And I'm like, okay, where are we going for dinner?
Problem solved.
And they're all just like mind blown about this. And to me, it's just like, this is how we solve everything. I don't understand the concept. They're just so, that corporate mentality is.
Oh yeah, we do. Trust me.
So,
I could
preach
to you forever with my firm, Computer Quest. We'll go in, and they want us to, the client wants us to meet in a 27-person boardroom to address the dumbest little issue that I'm like, no, this will fix this problem, and you won't have this anymore with, whatever the product
solved.
is.
Let's move on.
And then it's people going, well, wait, we got to run it by an entire board of advisors, and why? Like, why do we have to go through all this to fix something like?
And now then you wonder,
you don't need
why,
to pay $10 million to fix this.
That's why when they buy gauges, it costs so much more, because there's so much paperwork.
Yep.
On the back end, even if they get one piece, I got to do 8D report. Like, why is this going on? Non-compliance reports.
Yeah.
Like, and you're just like, God, you ordered 2,000 of them. It's impossible to get a zero defect ratio. And I literally have one bad one, and for like $9, you want to, like, I got to work 3 hours of paperwork. Doesn't make any sense to me. You know? And same when I was there, I was like, it's fixed. That's it. No paperwork needed. You guys want to take me out to dinner?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, okay, we'll do that. And then the next morning, I had like 2 hours extra, and I'm wandering around my hotel, and all these liquor stores are there. Because what I realized was we're right near where they make tequila. The town of Tequila is like 30 miles away, So there's tons of liquor stores. And they open at like 8 in the morning, shockingly. Yeah. So I walk into the one, and I'm looking, just rows and rows of tequila, and several, I'm like, oh man, I recognize those. And it is so cheap.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Holy cow. And the guy's like, you want to taste anything? I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to taste something. I'm like, it's 8:30 in the morning, let's rock. So I start doing shots of tequila at 8:30 in the morning. And that was my test, if it tastes good at 8:30 in the morning, this is some good stuff.
Yeah.
And so I bought tons of bottles. I think I bought like 8 or 9 bottles of tequila, all kinds of like fancy bottles, normal ones that I know, ones I never heard of.
Yeah.
And I go through the airport.
Yeah, I was saying.
And I'm just like clinkety clank. They're all banging together and making all this noise. And their system was, I think you're allowed 4 bottles was the maximum amount you can get without declaring. And it's a big sign everywhere that say that. And at the airport, they got tequila tasting. You know, they're like, you want some tequila? I'm like, sure. You know, so I'm doing more tequila shots at the airport.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm like, I'm not buying anything. I'm just like, free tequila. Let's keep on going. So just before you're about to get on the airplane, there's a button that you push. It's like that thing. What's that show where you climb up the mountain and then you hit the little button? It's just a round button.
Okay, like a red button. Yeah. I gotcha.
And you hit it, and either a green light or a red light comes on. And if it's green, you can go through. You don't have to talk to anyone or declare anything. And if it's red, you got to talk to the guy. Yeah. And I'm like, clank, 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 clank. Hit the button. It goes green. I'm like, oh, okay. Just wander on through, making all this noise. I have so many bottles of tequila. No one ever said anything on.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yes, I brought home so much. I mean, every bottle was like $10, $12 and stuff like that of like super nice tequila.
And over here it's $80.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. I'd come here just for the load up your suitcase with tons of tequila and all these brands you never heard of, which is also phenomenal stuff.
That's awesome. I flew to another country once. We had an international client in my early days of my business setting up, and I had 2 carry-on bags, and they were packed with computer equipment, Cisco switches, Cisco firewalls, all this stuff. And I'm flying into the country, not on a work visa, nothing. And I was just like, I had to get a client that they needed an office like spun up immediately. And I got there and I didn't think about customs, right? And I was like, holy shit, I don't have to close. Because I was a 1-day turnaround.
Right.
So I was literally, I had no hotel, nothing. I was going to work and then get back on the flight the next day and head home. And I knew I wasn't bringing anything with me. So I had this like shitty ass TJ Maxx luggage that I was just gonna leave there, like throw into a trash can. And I'm walking and I'm like, oh no, like customs is going to have a lot of fucking questions for me right now.
No paperwork.
And I'm standing there and I got both the bags because they're not even like roller cases. Like I've got to carry them. And I remember the lady goes, hey, what you doing, boy? And I was like, I've never been to another country. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And she's like, sweetie, you just go on through. Don't even worry. And I went through and I was like, oh my God, thank God. And I got in the cab and went and did the work, threw the luggage out, came back the next day. Coming out, customs was like, what were you doing here? Why were you here only? Where's all your luggage? What did you do? And I was like, you know what? I just wanted to take a day trip.
That's so funny. I still do a lot of traveling. And man, I could talk traveling all day long. Traveling, drinking, Vegas, hookers. No. So I went to Canada. I took an RV and I drove up to Niagara Falls.
Yep, great.
And then
Canadian side of Niagara Falls is great.
Exactly. Yeah. I have a motorcycle on the back of my RV that's on a hydraulic lift. So I dropped the bike down. We're staying on the U.S. side. I drive into Canada because I'm like, I'm going to drive my motorcycle in Canada, you know, even if it's 10 feet over the border.
Yep.
Yeah. Story.
Do the little tour around there. We go into some shops, blah, blah. And when you go into Canada, they just like, hey.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. But coming back.
So we drive back. And I stop. I give them my passport. And they're looking at it. And then the guy goes, can you take your helmet off? I'm like, oh, shit. Sorry. I didn't realize that, you know. Because I'm, you know, on a bike, I don't even know. Yeah. I don't know what he's going to do. So he's like, Mr. Cohen? I'm like, yeah, that's me. He goes, did you ever lose your passport? And I thought to myself, oh, I guess he's just testing me, you know, to see if I'm really me or whatever. Because I did lose my passport like 3 years earlier, and then I applied. I got another one. And I'm like, yeah, I did. I did lose it a couple years back. I don't remember when. And he goes, well, guess what? I go, what? He goes, I found your passport.
Jesus.
And I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah, you're like, this is weird.
And he goes, yeah, I found it. I go, really? Okay. Is there anything else?
Like, do you still have it?
And he
Pulls
goes,
it out of a drawer.
can you pull up over there? And I'm like, why? And he goes, oh, just pull over there for a minute. I want to talk to you. Or go inside and talk to the people inside. I'll have your passport over there with those people. And I'm like, gee, I don't have time for this, you know. And I have my dogs are in the RV, you know. But it's not a big deal. It hasn't been that long yet. So I park the bike. I take all my shit off. I go inside. And I'm like, doo-doo-doo. Hi. And they're like, what's your name? I'm like, Glenn Cohen. He says, I got to come talk to you. And he goes, oh, yeah. Your passport's no good. I'm like, what do you mean my passport's no good? He goes, this passport that you gave me is registered as lost. Do you have another passport? And all the blood rushed out of my head. I'm like,
no.
Motherfucker, I grabbed the wrong passport when I left my house in Florida. And I'm like, yeah, I have another passport. It's back in Florida. And he's like, yeah, you gave me the wrong one, you know? And I'm like, oh no. I go, well, you have my passport. I mean, you know this information. I just don't have it physically on my person, you know? And he says, I'm going to have to confiscate this passport.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to give you this letter and da-da-da. And when you get home, you got to send me a copy of your other one. And I'm like, well, you have it right in front of you on the screen.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So now at this point, I'm almost like starting to, I'm like, why? What's the point, you know?
Yeah.
But he still gives me a little bit of a hard time. He goes, just wait over there for a few minutes. So we sit and wait. And like 10 minutes go by and he calls my name and he goes, here's all your shit. And we left. But I was like, for a split second, I thought, I'm not getting back.
You're stuck in Canada.
All because I grabbed the wrong passport. Because I did lose it legitimately. And then literally like a year later, I sent it to the Chinese embassy to get a visa. And then I never got it back.
Okay.
And after like 6 months, I applied that I lost it.
Yeah.
Then they gave me a new one. And then maybe another 6 months after that, the Chinese embassy sent my passport back. And they're like, we have this. I don't know what happened, you know. And that was it. It wasn't any reasoning.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, whatever. I guess it's... And I really wanted that passport because it had all these places that, you know, it was like a full book. It gives you.
Yep.
So I kept it. And then apparently when I left, I grabbed the wrong one. So it was not a good trip. But it ended up being safe, you know, so to speak.
When the 08 STI came out, the first hatch one, I wanted to drive up to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So I went across up to New York, Rainbow Bridge, stayed the night in Niagara Falls, and then drove up to Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, because I love the car, I thought it'd be a cool adventure. And like you said, going into Canada, they were like, come on in. And then coming back, they were like, because I was only there for like 2 days.
Yeah.
They were like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, well, I just bought this 08 STI. It's the first hatch STI. You know, I'm way more excited about the STI than the border agent is.
Right.
And he's like,
Did you tell him it was the first one in the United States?
You know, I was going to tell you, it was the first one in Florida.
Oh, Florida.
So, but
Fresh off the boat.
He goes, I need you to pull off to the side there. And I was like, okay. So I just pulled off. And honestly, I had bought Tylenol with codeine because you can buy it in Canada. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm going to prison forever.
Exactly.
And he pulled me up. They pulled my whole car apart. They searched everything. Like, they were like insistent that I had drugs. They had dogs going around over and over. They had dogs inside.
Subaru.
And the thing is I've got whatever 1,000 miles on the thing for when I left it 400 miles, so wherever I'm at, and I'm watching 3 dogs digging at my Alcantara STI seats, and I'm like, oh my God. No. And I'm like, why are you treating me like a criminal? Canada's like, come on in.
Yeah.
I'm a U.S. citizen, and I come back, and they're like, we know you have drugs. We're going to find them. And they're like looking at the Tylenol, and I was like, can I not have that? And they're like, you can have it. And then they're
so
like
mad
because they're looking for meth. So
that sucks.
Big meth.
But Glenn, first off, thank you so much for coming on. This is an amazing show.
You guys.
One of the best guests we've had in a while. Fuck all those other guests.
Yes,
but
we appreciate you.
Please, where can people order your stuff still? Like, is it?
Yeah. So we're in Florida.
Yep.
We keep everything there. We have dealers all around the world now.
Okay.
But ProSportGauges.com is the main place.
Okay, we'll put that down to the bottom.
We've got gauges. We also do a new company we started, which is called Autometer, which is more of a high-end stuff with OBD2, plug and play. It's really simple and easy to use. think of it as a square display, and it'll display all the information from your.
Yeah, you're showing us before the thing. It was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're also doing a lot of air filters now, universal air filters, which are also super high-end, real nice stuff, and those are called Remco.
Okay.
And they're found on the fukuworks.com website.
Okay. Yeah, Tom was telling me all about the. I didn't know about the hoses and everything.
Radiator hoses and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going on for years now. The name Fuku was taken from when I was in Japan. We were driving on the bullet train, and it was on the map, and I thought it was funny that it just says "fuck you" on the map.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way it read, And I'm like, like a little kid, but it basically, with the symbol itself, the Japanese symbol really means good luck and good fortune. And so I'm like, oh, that's perfect, works out well. And then we ended up adopting that symbol and, of course, the name and stuff like that. And everyone has a blast, talking about our fucking hoses.
Yeah. That's funny. That's funny. Well, we'll obviously put your website and everything down below. And thank you again for coming on. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
No, it was really fun. And there's a lot of stories we haven't got to.
I was just saying,
we'll
I really hope you'll
too.
come back and talk more, because I want to talk more about Vegas, Mint, everything, your off-road racing.
Vegas,
I want to talk way more about that. But thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate you.
And of course, we'll be at SEMA in November. I just picked the booth. They have a lottery system, and they called 3 days ago. So I've got a really good location. We're right on the main aisle. We've been going to SEMA, I think, like 18 years now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a new. Actually, last year we redesigned the whole booth, so it's all new. A lot of cool stuff to see. A lot of new gauges coming out. We added Speedo and TAC to this line here, the JDM series. JDM, in our case, stands for Japanese Dual Movement.
Okay.
So you've got an analog and digital display, and the movement itself is made in Japan. That's where we get them. They're super quiet, super fast. You can see how quickly the needle, when it goes through its cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Bounce off there. So, yeah, and this display here will be at SEMA itself, along with a lot of our heat control products, and go buy it. We got them in stock. And of course, as you know, the shipping is super fast.
Yes, very fast.
Definitely.
Especially if you're in Florida. So it's instant. Well, thank you again,
Thank you,
Glenn.
Thank
We
you very
appreciate
much.
it.
Really good.
Great, this show. Thank you, Freddy Krueger.
I'll see if you remember who it was.
I remember.
Proud of you.
Don't kill those
Proud of
kids.
you.
We're sorry No, Freddy Krueger was a pedophile, and they burned him in his house. I don't know. I'm trying to remember my 80s horror movies. Thank you again. Like, subscribe, get on our Patreon. We changed our giveaway rules.
Yeah.
Make sure to check that out. And we love you. So, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.